of that chapter. I invite you to talk freely, or to the extent that it's necessary, you may read some aspects in the paragraphs between paragraphs 1 and 6.
Thank you very much. Good morning to the Commissioner and good morning to evidence leader and the partner and the media out there and communities out there. I will start by saying that I am 65 years of age. I reached my retirement age in July 2025. That is when I left the city. I worked for the city for the past, in fact, for local government for the past 36 years. I started the city of Ekurhuleni, coming from elsewhere, Springstown Council, which is now part of Ekurhuleni. I was part of the amalgamation of the city, for the city to be what it is today, to be called the City of Peace.
Apologies. Before I pose my first question to you, I guess I should apologize in trying to address the issue of potential prejudice you may have suffered. I inadvertently omitted to greet you this morning, and I do apologize. And thank you for the greeting, and I warmly return it. You indicate then at your paragraph 1 and 4 that you served as a city manager for the city of Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality until you attained the age of 65 on the 17th of July, 2025.
Correct.
You indicate that you retired. I need to understand whether your retirement is in terms, was that a mandatory retirement? And whether your retirement necessitated a payout of your contract as it stood at the time?
I was appointed, I need to indicate to the Commission that I was appointed for 2 terms in the city of Ekurhuleni. I completed the first term in 2021, and in 2022, I was reappointed again for another 5 years. Because I was going to reach the retirement age before end of my contract, the then Mayor, Tanya Campbell, applied to the minister for a waiver for me to work until the age of 65 or until the end of the contract. Well, at the point of retirement, when the new mayor came in, he mentioned that he's not interested in pursuing this. But obviously, because of the relationship I had, it was not a good relationship, I must indicate. Because I worked with him in the previous term while he was the MMC Finance. We had our own differences because I do not take illegal instructions anyway. So he decided that I must actually vacate. He called me to a meeting in September, I think it was 13 September, that I must take special leave until end of December. And then after December, he will actually, with his own ANC comrade in that meeting, 2 of them, I must take special leave, and then in December, they'll review the payout for the remaining 6 months, forgetting that I have a two years until the end of my contract. In that meeting, I indicated to him that I have a 5-year contract, which is legal. And the process of a waiver from the minister is not yet complete. The minister is still waiting for you to respond in terms of the new systems of delegation. So therefore, I'm not going to take special leave, and no one can force special leave on anyone. I will retire at the age of 65, which is July next year. It was the 13th of September. Then he said, yes, we want new leadership and whatever. But I agreed that we want new leadership. I am prepared to actually help and train whoever that you want to be appointed as a new city manager. I went through the process, and I also agreed that I'll be at the background of assisting the new city manager, the potential new city manager, to be appointed, so that I assist him to go through the process. To be an accounting officer of a big city like Ekurhuleni is quite difficult, because to run plus minus 26 departments, you are in charge of more than 18,000 employees. You're dealing with 224 councillors at a time. And there are a lot of programs, litigations, and so forth. So you need to prepare someone. You need to be quite experienced to be an accounting officer. And I was prepared to train that person, and I started training that person. But the issue of the contract, my retirement, when we were supposed, I was left with only 1 month, obviously. It was in June, when I was supposed to retire end of July. The mayor took the report to council, and then in that report, it was about mutual separation, that they must pay me out the remainder of 2 years of my contract, and that I leave the city. And the attachment into the report, it was a report about the appointment of the new accounting office, which I did not have a problem with. During the meeting, well, the recommendation, everything changed. There was no longer mutual separation. The mayor proposed that I must be put on special leave just for 1 month. And I asked myself a question: what is the hurry of getting me out of the system? Then I refused to take that special leave. I remained in my position, but still complying and assisting the young men to actually adjust into the new rule. End of July, there was a farewell party, which was attended by all the HODs, and in their speeches, all of them, they actually thanked me for actually nurturing them and actually molding their careers, because I've been in the system forever. I worked in different roles as a director, HOD for 2 terms, COO, then city manager for two terms. So they were actually appreciative. And all of them, they called me Mama. And also in their speeches, they called me Mama. The media was there. In May, the mayor was also present. It was my last day when I announced that I'll be retiring end of July. When I was closing my program for women in uniform, the mayor was there, was appreciative, and I was also launching my book about my history and my journey in the city of Ekurhuleni. So the issue of payment, it was never done, and that is how I left the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. So I understand then you retired in the normal course. And
Mandatory age.
when you reached the mandatory retirement age, and there was no quote-unquote payment in respect of your departure from the city. Thank you for that clarification. I then turn to your second heading, named Background Service History, which you start from page 2.
Maybe before you do that, Ms.
Yes,
Silva.
Commissioner.
Yes. Good morning, Dr. Mashas. Paragraph 3, in the light of what the chairperson has said about giving you further opportunity to supplement, I suppose paragraph 3 then must be amended somewhat, because in there, and maybe for the record, let me say what it says. It says, to the extent that I fail to deal with any allegations made against me by previous witnesses who have appeared at this commission in either their statements or during oral testimony, same is denied. And then the next sentence, you explain why. You say you've not had the opportunity. Now, in the light of the opportunity that you've been given, I guess you will then deal with matter that you were contemplating in that first part of the paragraph. Is that correct?
Correct.
Just to be sure. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Silva.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. From your paragraph 7, page 2, to paragraph 34, you deal with your extensive service history, I'll say in the local government sphere. You start in 1999 when you joined the predecessor of the current city of Ekurhuleni Metropolitan. And you take that through to your day of retirement, and you highlight your achievements while you served the city, without necessarily reading in everything that you have said out in paragraphs 7 to 35. Would you like to highlight some of those aspects and speak to these issues?
Well, I need to indicate that I appreciated the fact that I was the first female city manager to serve in the city of Ekurhuleni, and for me it was a history and a milestone. But be that as it may, as a female, we always face obstacles of male chauvinism, especially in local government. Well, I tried my best. I started as an HOD, Health and Social Development. I built the state-of-the-art clinics in the city, especially in the previously disadvantaged areas. And that model was copied by City of Cape Town, eThekwini, and so forth, and improved the general well-being of people in the city of Ekurhuleni in terms of the health programs that are introduced. I further served as a COO, and the city received an award in terms of a customer satisfaction survey, where we became #1 and Cape Town was #2. And during my tenure as well, the city received 3 back-to-back clean audits, because it was my intention while I was the COO to ensure that we tighten our internal controls, we improve our governance. Clean audit is not about financial performance. Clean audit is about service delivery. It's about financial performance as well as service delivery performance indicators. Those two are actually meshed, and that's why we're able to get an award for being the best city in terms of customer satisfaction survey and in terms of service delivery. And during my tenure as well, we've built a lot of reservoirs. We've actually electrified informal settlement, which was a new thing. We've done so a lot for the communities during the first term of office of Mayor Mzwandile Masina. To be honest, in this new term of office, I was faced with turmoil of criticism, social media insults. There was a social media open just for me to be insulted. I must indicate that I'm the only city manager who was mostly insulted through social media platforms. Well, I think I have produced a lot of HODs. I've trained them. I've worked with them since the inception of the metro, including the chief of police, and I'm glad that I have left the city with capable men and women who can take the city forward. I think a lot of awards are in my CVs. The Leader in Good Governance Africa it was a recent award that the city achieved before I left the city, and it is all over in the media.
The CV you referred to is annexure IM2
Yes.
to your statement, and it appears from page 3 of your annexures. Is there anything in particular you would like to highlight for the commissioners in regard thereto?
The one that I want to highlight in terms of the annexure is the fact that when I entered the city, women were complaining, especially in the EMPD. For me, it's a milestone. They were complaining that they're not being promoted. For them to be promoted, they must actually sleep with those men. And if you looked at the salary staff complement of the department, most of the senior position, from your chief, it was a male, deputy chief, all males, executive managers, all males. Females were there at the chief officers and superintendent and inspectors. Those were the levels where women were actually kept. So I decided to start that program to ensure that women are empowered, to encourage them to take up bursaries, and also ensure that when positions are opened for them, they are able to actually challenge those positions because they are educated enough to take up the challenges, and encourage them not to allow these men to actually abuse them sexually. They can only be appointed when they qualify, and they can do the job as well as their male counterparts are doing. So for me, it's a milestone, and this is one of the highlights that I wanted to actually bring forward to the commission. And for me, as a female, I think I did very well for that. And the program ran for 7 years, obviously, during my term.
Thank you for that highlight, which is an important one, particularly for women in the workplace. I am still on your CV, and even in your statement, we refer to you as Dr. Mashazi.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that doctor as in a medical doctor, or is it an academic? Okay, if we go to page 4 then, still with IM2, your CV. I see that your highest qualification is that, please, I see the highest being Masters in Nursing Science from the Rand Afrikaans University. Now there is one still, more still. Bachelor degree in DLITTET field, Nursing Science. Where is the doctoral degree
Yeah,
here?
is the
How am I-
DLIT,
Please say that again.
is the DLIT Doctor of Literature and Philosophy in the
Okay.
nursing field, in nursing education.
It is rather confusing when you call it a bachelor's degree.
No, it's not. I'm sure it's a type.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
Okay, and that you acquired in 2002?
yes.
Okay. Now, we clarified. Okay, thank you for that, and thank you for giving such an extensive background to your service in the city. You say you served 2 terms as a city manager.
Yes, ma'am.
So the contract that would have expired in 2027, that would have been the 3rd term. Am I correct?
No, it's the second term.
The 2nd term. So when did your first term start again?
In 2016, November,
And that would have run to 2021.
2021.
So the second would have been 2022 to
Yes,
2027.
Correct.
Except you didn't get to serve the full 2nd term because it was interrupted by the mandatory retirement.
Yes.
Okay. I've caught up. Thank you. I then am at page 6 of your statement. You can go through the other pages prior to that, just to make sure that you have highlighted everything that you wanted to. This is regarding your service history within the municipality. Because as I get to your page 6, paragraph 35, I'm turning to a slightly different issue. Are you happy?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. At paragraph 35, you start with the engagement you've had from the first day with the commission, following the evidence or testimony of Deputy Chief of Police Rivo Spies, Chief Isaac Mapieye, and Kolani Prince Ngiza. So that testimony had been led publicly. And you indicate and you attach a letter marked IM3. IM3 appears in your annexure documents, the annexure file, dated the 14th of November, 2025.
Page?
Page 10, under tab IM3.
Yes.
That is the letter you referenced at paragraph 35.
Yes.
Now, in the context of the conversation you had with the chair earlier regarding potential prejudice you may have suffered, even though ameliorated, and the offer made to you to file a supplementary statement should the need arise. I highlight that the document that you specifically attach This was addressed to the Madlanga Commission at behonest.co.za. This is the hotline. Is that correct?
Correct?
It's only this, the subsequent letter, IM5, which was then addressed specifically to the secretary.
Correct?
So IM4, my mistake, IM4 at page 12. And that one is dated the 20th of November 2025. So the first letter, the only point I seek to make was that it went to a hotline. You used the hotline, your attorneys then used the hotline email address.
Yes.
And if you check the second letter at page 12, it is directed specifically to the secretary here in the commission and two other persons who are attorneys to the commission. Now, in that context, and again, remembering the conversation you had with the chair, is there anything you would like to add to your next two topics? The first headed, starting at paragraph 37, brief timeline to steps taken since testimony given falsely implicating me, read together with the next one starting from paragraph 43, prejudice suffered.
Thank you very much. The first letter, page 10, it was written by my husband, who's an attorney. By then, he was frustrated about all the allegations that were made against me. Then he took upon himself to write, but after discussing with him that it will be like a conflict of interest, me protecting myself through him, let me sort the services of neutral attorneys. And the neutral attorneys, therefore, were given a mandate, instruction to actually assist me, the peer carrying the attorneys that are here present. In terms of the prejudice, I need to indicate that the time given to me to actually prepare with the attorneys, because we received the statements and the transcripts on the 25th or 26th, and we were expected to appear on the 28th. And for us, the time was limited to actually prepare, to assist, in order to assist the commission to come to a conclusion in terms of the matter at hand. Hence, we raised those issues. Fortunately, we're given that extension of like 2 days, which is Saturday and Sunday. And my attorneys, I think, they went to Sun City for their year-end function, and they had to come back. And obviously, as a pensioner, I had to wake up at 3, read documents and so forth. Like, my head is now cluttered from the pressures of this thing, but be that as it may, we are here, and we are prepared to respond to some of the issues. We'll try to respond to the issues as much as we can, but we also appreciate the time that we are given to actually express our opinion in terms of the responses and the allegations that we made against me.
Thank you for that, Doctor. I must say that we didn't have the opportunity, unfortunately, to have a year-end function in Sun City. And I'm sorry you had to be waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm sure you'll appreciate where our whole Sunday, some of us, ended up, which is yesterday. Thanks. Okay, we will try to move as slowly as possible, particularly through the documents that emanate from the Commission when reference is made to them. As I indicated in consultation with you, we attempted to do that exercise with you as much as we could, but admittedly the time pressures perhaps denied us an opportunity to do so thoroughly. So in this hearing, to the extent that we will call up the annexures to the statements of the witnesses that you referenced, that you say falsely accuse you, you shall be given an opportunity to consider the document before you have to answer questions in relation thereto. Should it become impossible to do it, you will indicate, and the chair, I'm sure, will come to your aid. Okay? You then have a new chapter from page 8, which you've titled "For the Attention of the Commission." And I'm starting at page 8 at paragraph 50. That chapter runs from paragraph 50, in fact, it's a 150 with two sub-paragraphs, 50.1 and 50.2. Would you like to talk to those issues that you raise under that heading?
Thank you, ma'am. In terms of issues that I want to raise with the commission, is that from my side as an accounting officer, as I indicated that during the meet and greet exercise as a newly appointed female city manager, I was approached by female officers in the EMPD that are being harassed and are not promoted to senior positions. Rather, they should sleep with them for, it's not only attributed to chief only, it is a practice of everyone. But for me, because there was no formal complaint from any one of them, I could not take action. Mine was to create a platform for them to be empowered so that they're able to be promoted. And I've actually attached the statistics of my program, almost 8-year program of empowering women in uniform. It is called a City Manager Legacy Project. It is part of my key performance indicators in terms of my performance contract, where I initiated this program because there was no initial complaint. It was just a hearsay and their frustration. And quietly so, I had to create this program. And this program was actually celebrated every year. And the chief of police was actually invited in that program, where all these female officers who obtained their junior degrees, national certificate, we even have one who graduated a PhD degree. Last year, is it early this year? With a PhD degree, one junior official in the EMPD. She's at the inspector level with that PhD. We have others with masters, others with junior degrees, others with national diplomas. That is how the program was structured. And in terms of promotion, I can actually boast and say that we have actually appointed a lot of them or promoted a lot of them into higher positions up to director level. There was one that we attempted to appoint as a deputy chief of police, but she declined because the contract is a 5-year contract and she's a single parent. That is how far I wanted to go. And it is my wish, and it was my wish, and it is still my wish that one day we should have a female chief of police so that women are also given an opportunity to occupy senior positions, especially in the previously male-dominated environment. So we've done that exercise, but over and above that.
Is it previously, or is it not still dominated by men?
I've tried in that
No,
department.
you are saying it's previously, as if now everything is on par.
No, it's not on, it's not. But I've tried my best to
All right.
actually.
I'm not criticizing you,
Yeah.
I'm just correcting your language in saying it was previously dominated by men. I'm not there, I'm not at the Guruleni, but I would imagine that it must still be dominated by men. That's the probability.
Oh, thank you very much, Commissioner, for that correction. Yes, the profession is still male-dominated, but as the then female accounting officer, I tried to actually normalize the situation, but I have not reached where I wanted to be. It was also reported to me that the chief of police, Isaac Mabeya, fathered multiple children with subordinates who were vulnerable to his abuse of power, including conduct amounting to sexual harassment, coercion, and rape. I will address this when I deal with question, is it question 10? Question 9, where I was requested to submit his suspension letter. Is it
I
10?
think if you go overleaf at page 9,
It's page 9, yeah,
the
Those
last sentence
allegations.
of that first paragraph, you reference question 13
yeah.
of the statement, yes.
All right. The pattern of behavior described is deeply troubling and reflects a systematic abuse of authority by the chief of police. And he used to call them amangilos. He calls them amangilos, like angels. Those who are angels, these are the ones who are actually promoted. And if you look at the promotion of Tepa, who actually testified here, you can see that she was promoted within a short period of time as compared to others who have more qualifications, who were there before her, who were appointed before her as EMPD officials. So for me, this kind of practice gave me sleepless nights. And I feel that with the program that I created, at least it alleviated some pressure from these women. But there are those who are actually part of the whole thing, whom he called angels or amangilos. I also record concern relating to...
Just to make sure I understand the point you are making here, are you saying that he had sexual relations with Amangelosi or the angels?
Amangelosi.
And that as a result, the angels would then be promoted?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Or would be favored for promotion?
Exactly.
All right.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Doctor, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Are you stating that as a fact or it's a rumor that you heard? I'm sure you were watching news in the last few weeks. You would have heard about a term called mabaribari.
Ma?
Mabaribari.
It's not a mabarbar. I've been in the system. I know about these things.
But I'm saying, are you stating it as a fact or as something that you heard?
It's something that I heard, but he will answer and they will come, and if they're called, they can come and testify, those that have been abused. Classical example is about a witness that chief has been suspended for sexual harassment as well as rape. If that is a classical example, she'll come and confirm, but she requested that she wants to come and be interviewed by the commission, but outside camera. She doesn't want to be in camera because of her children and so forth. But she has prepared her file, and I think she has also written to be interviewed by the panel to indicate her treatment under the chief of police. So I will also talk to it when I address the issue of his suspension, how it happened. The letters from the doctors, I've attached them from her doctors, and the letters from the attorneys that represents her. So it is important to know that some of these things, they are not just said in a vacuum or under mabaribari. It is confirmed by a case that is being opened against him, the case of rape, and also there is a protection order against him. And for him to come here and behave as if he's a victim while he's a perpetrator of women abuse, it's a shame, to be honest.
Dr. Mashazi, you speak in paragraph 50 and in your explanation of a wide-scale
Yes,
program.
I want to talk to this one. This one, chief of police being chief of police.
Can I just ask you my question, and then you can speak to what you want to speak to? I started to ask you a question. Please. My question is, you speak of a pervasive problem, and in the plural, you say angels, and suggesting improper relationships. Is there a particular reason that you mention only Lieutenant Colonel Tipper, who testified in her testimony, spoke about you or your office at least? You are not mentioning anyone else as part of the crowd of people that you say the chief had improper relationships with.
I want to focus my discussions and my evidence in terms of people who have been here and people who actually made allegations. Tepa, she was one of my protectors at some point, introduced by Chief, part of my team of protection. I had 8 males protecting me, and Chief withdrew one and introduced Tepa. And these other males were saying, but Mama, your office and your safety is actually questionable. Why do you allow Chief to bring this one? She's not going to help us. We need to be combat ready to protect you. Then I asked Chief, what is the reason of you? No, she's good, she's one of my angels. That is how he explained, he's one of his angels. And in terms of, if you go to Ekureni, they will tell you about amangelosi, what amangelosi means or angels means in terms of Chief's definition. So she is part of the angels here, of Chief's angels.
Yes, you've said that. You've said she's one of the angels. My question to you is, she's testified against you. She said unflattering things about you. You are not mentioning anyone else by name of those angels. And what are we to make of it, that you speak specifically to someone who's testified against you? And I think you have just said now that, she comes here to pretend she's an angel, when in fact she's part of a network of people that are being abused by the chief. It may well be that is so, and I'm not saying that's not so because I don't know any better. It may well be. I'm asking the simple question that you mention her specifically, where you speak in the plural about angels. You're not mentioning anyone else. Is there a particular reason that you mention her and she happens to be someone who testified against you?
Thank you for the question. I'm not mentioning her because she was part of the people who made allegations about me, but I'm speaking about her and confirm because her name is already here, and Chief has actually introduced her to me as one of his angels. That is the reason why I'm mentioning her alone.
Okay. Can I just follow up on that? You also, on my question at least, you say at 50.1, you say it has been widely reported to me that Chief fathered children with subordinates. And in your oral evidence, you say you came to know that there was a problem in EMPD where you're not suggesting Chief is the only one. Chief Mapia was the only one that is guilty of those kind of complaints. Correct. You're not suggesting that?
Correct.
Okay, but you're mentioning only him.
I'm mentioning Chief because there's a case about him, about sexual harassment.
Yes.
And also rape.
Yes. You do
I
discuss
can't mention
that.
others because there was never a case that was brought to my attention about rape or sexual harassment. And I could not, as I indicated when I started that, I could not charge anyone about the practice in EMPD. Instead, as a female accounting officer, I decided to create a program to empower these women.
Okay. Maybe lastly, let me ask, you are the municipal manager at the time.
Yes.
In fact, before that, you were the chief operating officer.
Exactly.
And then you become the municipal manager. In one of those two roles, you become aware that there are problems in EMPD, but you do no investigation. You don't appoint, you have the power to appoint. You don't appoint anyone to look into these serious allegations. You carry on until there's an allegation of the person that you discuss later on. There's a formal complaint, but the rest of the time, you carry on
Thank you very much.
without taking any action to look into these serious allegations that you should be addressing. I expect that the municipal manager takes it seriously enough, that if you get this pervasive or this suggestion that it's a systemic problem in the EMPD, a responsible municipal manager would take action to investigate it further, and you don't seem to have done that.
Thank you very much. As I indicated at the beginning of my statement, when I said it was a general comment from a group of women, and there was no one with a formal complaint. Remember, you can't just investigate without a formal complaint, without anyone signing an affidavit or writing a grievance to you. You can't just, you're going to investigate everyone. What I reasonably did as an accounting officer, as a city manager, I had to create a program to deal with the systemic issue. I cannot just investigate people and say, yeah, there is this allegation that you guys, you are abusing these women, they are not promoted and so forth. I did a reasonable thing as an accounting officer to create that platform for women to be promoted and empowered.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Dr. Mashazi, if I may. Yes, Chair.
Just before that, it's a follow-up to the questions by my co-commissioner, Commissioner Baloyi. You say it has been widely reported to you. When exactly did you get the reports?
It was, as I indicated, that it was a verbal, when I started as an accounting officer. These things were reported to me by this group of female officers that the chief is fathering.
Please remind me, when did you become the city manager? I know it's here, but.
Yeah.
2016.
Yes.
So in 2016, you hear that Chief Mapie is not only having improper sexual relationships with the women police officers, but is even raping some of them and harassing others sexually, even using coercion on them. I assume that's coercion for purposes of having sex with them? This is, you get to hear this in 2016. And all you do, unless I misunderstand you, so all you do is to create a platform for women to be promoted. That's all you do.
To be empowered, number one, and to be promoted as well. Remember, if there's no formal complaint, how do you start investigating people? That's why I'm referring to the paragraph where I deal with specific sexual harassment, where there's a formal complaint.
Are you suggesting that as a leader you get reports of such horrendous acts by the chief of police? You sit back and fold your arms instead of being proactive. You fold your arms and say, there are no complaints to me. Why can't you be proactive and do the best you can to get to the bottom of the reports that you have received, reports of such horrendous acts by the chief of police?
Maybe it is a foresight from my side, but as an accounting officer, if there's no formal complaint, how do I, remember in terms of our processes in council, I must have a formal complaint like I received, that there is this thing happening.
But what was your sense? Wasn't your sense that this was something systemic?
Yes, it was something systemic.
It's ongoing. It's ongoing. There are children out of improper sexual relations. There's coercion, meaning those that are not willing to have, even willing perhaps is not a good word, in this context. So there's even coercion to have sexual relations with those that will not have sexual relations with him. There are rapes. You just fold your arms, sit and wait for complaints. Is that the way an accounting officer, a chief executive officer should act?
Commissioner, as I indicated that I cannot just from a hearsay that there are this thing. I had to wait because there are processes in council. You can't just say there is this general view about an individual, therefore I'm investigating this individual. I must have something in writing that this person has complained about 1, 2, 3. Then I must write a report to council and ask council to give me permission to investigate, to suspend and investigate an individual. I could not unilaterally hearing from them as a group saying there is this thing happening. And I know that as an accounting officer.
Who did you get the reports from?
It was female officers.
Was it the affected women officers?
Affected women officers in the department.
So that's not hearsay. It's people who are affected
But
telling
they must
you.
do it in writing.
Sorry, doctor. Is the affected women telling you that this is happening to us? There's nothing hearsay about that. There's nothing hearsay about that.
I take your point.
So basically you did nothing, having received information about such horrendous acts by the chief of police. You just sat and did nothing.
I take your point that doing that program, it's not enough from the point of an accounting office. I take your point.
Thank you, doctor.
I think, Doctor, it's more than the program is not enough. I think it's as specific as you receive word from women who speak to you. Because you raise it to a formal level, they tell you, we have a problem. And it's not just the chief, according to your evidence. They say the men in EMPD, this is what they do. What in fact it is you did nothing about that. Your explanation for doing nothing about it is you say, well, I didn't have any formal written complaints or allegations, but you did have verbal complaints and allegations, and then you did nothing about it. You didn't address those allegations.
I take your point, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perhaps lastly, this is 2016. Did the reports not continue throughout your tenure? The reports of this, what I've referred to as horrendous conduct, did those reports not continue? I would imagine if, as you have accepted, this is something that was systemic, it could not only have been in 2016 when you were appointed a municipal manager. The reports must have continued, not so?
Yes, if you look at the evidence of the victim,
Yes.
the harassment coercion started in 2012, before I even became the accounting officer.
And did these reports continue throughout your tenure as municipal manager?
Obviously, they continued.
Throughout.
Obviously, they
So,
continued.
meaning from 2016 all the way to 2025.
Yeah, but
You were receiving these reports continuously and you did nothing about them. Save to create, what did you refer to it? Save to create the platform for them to be promoted, which does not, of course, address the issue we are raising. So throughout, from 2016 to 2025, you are continuously receiving these reports which tell you that there's a systemic problem and you do nothing throughout your tenure as municipal manager.
What I did, and I explained, Commissioner, that
Leave out, please.
we have
Yeah.
processes in council, and like even now, I struggled to serve the report of Chief of Police in terms of his misconduct. I struggled. I received a complaint.
I'm specific to the systemic problem of the horrendous conduct of the chief of police and other senior men within the EMPD who were sexually harassing, raping, coercing with a view to having sexual relations, junior women officers. That's my focus, not other issues which may have arisen and which you may have addressed. That's my focus, and my question is, there is this systemic problem of which you are aware because, as you've admitted, there are continuous reports on it, and you basically do nothing with that issue, that horrendous conduct from 2016 all the way up to the end of July 2025, throughout that period.
Commissioner, I take your point that just doing a program was not enough as an accounting officer while these things were systemic and happening. I take your point.
A more direct answer. So from 2016 to 2025,
Yes, I take your point.
you did nothing.
Yes, I take your point.
All right.
Except to create a platform for them.
All right, thank you.
Maybe, Commissioner, we need to understand the processes of council in terms of senior managers. We need to understand that you can't just take a report, because for you to deal with this thing, I must report to council that this is happening around a senior manager. And that report must be supported with a complaint. I know that from my side as an accounting officer, my hands are tied in terms of dealing with some of the issues. That's why I took a soft route of actually creating that program. I must write a report to council and say, Chief did 1, 2, 3, coercing, abusing, sexually harassing people, and so forth, because Chief accounts to me. Junior managers is Chief that must deal with that in the Department of MPD. But in terms of him as a Section 56 employee, he reports directly to me. He's the only person that I can deal with in the department. So for me to write a report about him that he is doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I must go to council, the very same politicians who are protecting him. I must go there. I'm trying to illustrate that as an accounting officer, your hands are tied, especially when you're a female, are tied in dealing with male chauvinism in local government.
I would understand that if you had done something and had been rebuffed, but for you to sit, fold your arms from 2016 to end of July 2025, I do not understand that at all. If you had done something, I mean, these are very serious allegations, Dr. Mashazi, very serious allegations, and please do not misunderstand us. Do not think that we are defending Chief Mapie and the other senior men that you are making allegations against. No, we are not. But it's more about what did you do about it, on the assumption that the allegations are true. What did you do about it? That's where we are.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you. Perhaps just to close out on that line of questioning, Dr. Mashazi, accepting the extent to which your hands were tied, as you have testified, is it fair then to accept that the pattern of abuse of women persists? There was nothing to stop it, so it persists and probably has gotten worse. Is that what you'd be telling this commission? No, you need to express yourself orally so that the machine can record your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
So it persists and it has worsened since.
I can't say it has worsened. I can say there's improvement immediately after I introduced and empowered them and made them understand that they are not sex object. They are equally qualified to compete with these males
Yes.
for positions, and HR processes are pure.
Okay, now, I think it's incumbent upon me to tease out some aspects of your paragraph 50.1. As the chair pointed out, these are very serious allegations. The conversation that we've had so far relates to the pattern within the city. But paragraph 50.1 specifically points to Chief Mapie. It's personal, as against him personally. Now, for the record, this commission is not out to impugn anyone's name or to judge anyone's sense of morality. And I would like to believe that neither do you approach this commission with that kind of thinking. Accepting that you do not intend to unnecessarily impugn his name, I then want to unpack 50.1. You say, it has been widely reported to me that Chief Mapie fathered multiple children with subordinates who were vulnerable to his abuse of power. Firstly, you, in response to a question by Commissioner Kumalo, you said it's not mabaribari. It can be substantiated, it's factual. My question to you is, do you know the identities of those juniors with whom Mr. Mapie fathered children? Do you know that as a fact, or do you accept because it was communicated to you?
Unfortunately, I cannot mention the names of people here, but I know few of them.
Also,
Two of them.
you
I
can
cannot-
establish that fact.
Yes, yes.
And you may do so through your statement, if so, your supplementary statement, if so
Exactly,
required.
exactly.
And how many children are we talking about?
I'm not sure about the number.
No.
The number here is said, just read my statement.
I'm at 50.1, your page 8.
Yeah, it said
You say fathers multiple children with
multiple
subordinate.
children.
Yes.
I never indicated the number. I'm not sure about the number.
As at the time it was communicated to you, how many women specifically confirmed this situation? How many?
I
To
do
your
not
recollection?
recall the number.
Was it 2 or 10 or 20?
I do not recall the number.
That bad, doctor?
Thank you.
I'm asking, it's a question. Is it that bad that you can't recall whether it's 2 or 10 or 20?
Remember, ma'am, I'm running 26 departments, and each and every department we have, in police only, we have more than 3,005 officials.
Accept
How
that.
do I remember all these things? I don't remember. I don't recall.
I
And
tease.
obviously, I
Sorry.
cannot be forced to say a number that I don't know.
I appreciate
And I don't want to lie to the commission, to be honest.
Indeed. I pressed for that because you are not talking about a particular pattern where seniors father children with subordinates. You are speaking of specifically one person. And you have just indicated to the commission that you can give detail regarding those cases in your supplementary. That would mean you refer to specific people who confirmed to you as a matter of fact that it happened to them. But you say you don't remember whether it was 2, 10, or 20. I am more concerned about the second part of that allegation, where this fathering of multiple children is through conduct amounting to sexual harassment, coercion, and rape. So, do I understand you correctly that some of those children were fathered following a rape by Chief Mapie? Is that your statement to the commission?
Can you repeat your statement?
You can't, we can't because you are looking at your phone and you are reading something on your phone, so naturally you will miss many of the things that I say. So we're going to have to make a decision how we run this. You are either with the commission and you are testifying before the commission, or you'd like some time to attend to your phone,
I'm
which is
trying
going
to
to
get
be.
information from my phone.
No, if you
the
need
number.
time to get information, kindly address yourself to the commission and request the time, and the time shall be given to you. But when a question is
Apologies.
posed to you and you distract yourself by attending to your phone, I'm sure you'll accept that it won't particularly work.
Yeah, it's,
Thank you.
it's incorrect, and I apologize for that.
What is incorrect?
For me to be attending to my phone
Okay.
while the
No, sorry.
session is on.
Apology accepted. The question was, the last part of that particular paragraph suggests that Chief Mapie fathered some, I take it, of these multiple children with subordinates through the act of rape. Is that what you're communicating?
Yeah, there's a rape case opened against him.
From which a child was born?
I beg pardon?
From which a child was born?
There was no child born,
Okay.
but there's a rape case in terms of the testimony that is part of my bundle.
That's that's a clarification I sought. So I
Yeah.
should not read sexual harassment, coercion, and rape to relate to the fathering of children. These are two separate allegations you make.
Exactly.
Okay. And before we get there, because we will get there, that's your, what you call your question 13. The example you give in your statement is a complaint by one subordinate. Dare I ask you whether there are more, if you know for a fact that there are more? And how many? Or you don't recall?
I can confirm that there's one who came through.
Okay.
As I indicated that a group of them came and complained, but because there was no written statement and there was nothing, I was unable to act upon it. As I indicated that there are processes and my hands are tied in terms of reporting such behaviors.
Okay, I'll accept that. Now I want to turn to the allegation at 50.2. And once again, it's directed specifically at Chief Mapieye and does not, or the Chief of Police, and I take it it's still Chief Mapieye, right? The Chief at the time. And once again, it is not an allegation to senior managers within the EMPD. It is specifically to Chief Mapieye. My question here is, you say you accuse him of defeating the ends of justice arising from repeated instances in which complaints of misconduct reports were not acted upon, were actively suppressed. You see where I'm reading, 50.2.
Yes.
So you have complaints and misconduct reports that are not acted upon or were actively suppressed. I take it by Chief Mapieye. As the city manager, what did you do about that? Or were your hands tied again?
No, this time around, Chief Mapeya was involved in an accident in 2014 where he broke his arm. And in terms of what happened, he stays in Brakpan. I had to go and see him. He was driving under the influence of alcohol and the scene was cleared. And IPID never investigated this. And I think Advocate Kemu will talk more about the cases. Secondly, there was another accident. We'll get the case numbers, we'll send in terms of our statement, where Chief Mapeya was also involved in an accident under the influence of alcohol. And I am told that a child died out of that accident. And those were never... Second, the third one, Chief Mapeya, there was a woman whom he pushed, assaulted, and that woman opened the case, and subsequently, IP took the case from the city, and that woman was forced to withdraw the case, and she made a statement. The fourth one is about the rape case of the victim who requested to be interviewed by this commission. The rape case was opened in June, and Chief received a protection order. I think, I've forgotten the month, will indicate in our protection order against, because he was continuously going to the vicinity or to the area or to the place of this particular victim. She ended
Sorry
up,
to interject, you said June, what year, please? If you
it's
recall.
20th I'm not sure, we'll get the dates.
Okay.
But the victim will talk to the story herself. She continuously went to the area. But what is important in terms of defeating the ends of justice, and Chief working closely with some law enforcement agencies, that nothing happens to him. It is actually concerning that the rape case is opened and nothing happens to him. The poor victim is suffering and nothing is being said. In-state council is actually interested in ensuring that Chief is cleaned up.
So she's?
The Chief is actually cleared from this
Oh,
thing.
Chief, yes.
because it was a battle for him to be suspended anyway. So my issue here is that if we have support from law enforcement agencies and from politicians, it means you are lucky. And lonely voices like ours, we do not get any support from anything.
Now,
Anyone.
Just a moment. Dr.
Yes,
Mashasi,
Chair.
just so that I don't understand you. What is the purpose of this section of your statement?
The purpose
I'm
is,
trying to make sense of it because you have been invited to this commission to respond to allegations made against the Ekurhuleni Metro and EMPD and the extent to which you played a role in all those things. And then there is this section in your statement, and I'm not criticizing you. It is your statement. For my benefit, I'm just trying to understand. Is the purpose of this section to say that we must not believe the people who gave evidence here because they are also bad people, they have done the things you have mentioned in the statement? I'm trying to understand what the purpose of this section of the affidavit is and what we as the commission should do with it. So if you can just assist me there, and it's not a criticism, it's just so that I understand why we are dealing with the things that are mentioned in this specific section.
the purpose obviously is to highlight the behavior of the chief of police. He came here as a victim. And I don't know whether he disclosed, because I was not listening to the commission, he disclosed that he was suspended for sexual harassment. I don't know if he disclosed that. So it's to bring to the attention of the commission that in as much as he is suspended or he appeared here and he made allegation, for me, he's an aggrieved person. He's an aggrieved person. And that's why I'm making this statement that an aggrieved person would say anything to tarnish one's reputation or legacy. That is the purpose of the paragraph.
Thank you. Now I understand.
But can I- sorry, sorry,
yes,
Mr.
Commissioner.
Yeah. I mean, in the back of that answer where you say you're telling us all of this to show us he's an aggrieved person, but your evidence is nothing was done to him from these things that you list. He got away with it. He used your words, he used law enforcement, and he's got counsel protecting him. So according to your evidence or your testimony, he suffered no consequence for the list of things that you are giving except the suspension in 2024, and we'll come to that. But you've listed a number of things where you say there was no consequence. So how are these evidence or proof of grievance, these things that you are listing in paragraph 50, how can they serve that purpose if there was no consequence to him?
I think we discussed the issue of consequence management from my side, and I've explained that my hands are tight or were tight because I've been blocked through and through to deal with him. The process of dealing with senior managers, it is in the Systems Act. Senior Managers Systems Act, I think, is Section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act, where you are required to get an investigation report or an allegation first. And I write the report to the municipal council with all the attachment for council to take a decision, because he's appointed by council through Section 56. So my duty was to write the report to council with all the attachment, but by then I did not have attachment. Hence, it is viewed, which I accept, that I did nothing. But here, I'm trying to, as I answered Commissioner, that the purpose of this is to bring to the attention of the commission that Chief came here to actually air his grievance more than anything.
Okay.
But he has a lot to answer. but it is not for this commission to run a grievance process or to run a DC for individuals.
Yes. No, you are correct. It's not our place to run a DC, but you have put this stuff before us. So I think in fairness to you, we give you the opportunity to explain it where we don't understand. But also I think in fairness to the people that you're naming, they need to know what it is you're saying about them. Which brings me to this. You say about 50.2, you say in 2014, he was involved in a motor vehicle collision where he drove drunk. At the time you were the COO. Was this matter as a Section 56 employee or appointment, the chief, was this brought to the attention of the council and is there a record of it?
It was never brought to the attention of council.
Okay. And then you say there was another incident, again, drunk and driving. What year was that? The second one?
I'm not sure. We'll get the information. As we said, we are going to substitute our statement.
I can still ask my question. Did you bring this second incident to the attention of the council as the city manager?
Of the council.
Yes?
Because I don't have the date, I don't want to respond much to that. We'll actually amend our statement, is then that we can talk to that.
But you will remember surely sitting there whether you submitted a report to council or not. You may not remember date, but you would remember what you did about the first incident vis-a-vis council, what you did about the second incident. Surely that you must be able to remember.
Remember, accidents, they're reported, they're actually accident of police officers and brutality of police officers. It is the area of operation of IPIT. IPIT was supposed to do the investigation. And after the investigation, then, because he reports to me directly, they should give me a report and I should have done something about that. So if the report is not forthcoming from IPIT, I cannot go to council with empty hands and say, Chief did 1, 2, 3. That's why I'm saying to you and pleading with you that let me get the full report and then we amend our statement.
Okay, I accept that, but can we at least agree that driving under the influence of alcohol and damaging council property is disciplinable conduct, which falls within the municipality's remit? You accept that?
2014, I was not the accounting officer.
Yes, the next
And
incident?
I agree with you that rests with the council.
Okay. And the next one is the incident where you say he pushed a woman who broke her arm or something and ended up laying a complaint, I think he said, about her. Did you report, did you do anything about that?
That
It
was
sounds again like disciplinable conduct. As his manager, did you do anything about it?
Yes, it was reported to council and IPIT quickly took the report that they're investigating the case. Same as the second one for rape. To date, we do not have a report from IPIT.
Okay. So is it the position or is it your testimony that even conduct that on the face of it is disciplinable, is a misconduct in terms of the code of discipline and employment contracts, even that kind of conduct, you don't act on it until IPIT tells you you must discipline. You wait for IPIT.
No. Remember, the sexual harassment and pushing of that pregnant woman, it was part of my report to council for chief to be disciplined. Those two were part of my report. I did my job as an accounting officer.
And we should be able to get a copy of your report to council.
Of my report to council, yes. One of the reports is here for his suspension. So I think it's also important to get, I wanted to get my original item to the mayoral committee
Yes.
to show the difference in terms of their decision and what I propose. Unfortunately, I can't get access to those documents.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just on that score, before we break for tea, you reference 4 cases I'm correct that you say all of them were reported to IPID? No, the mic doesn't know when you're nodding your head, Dr. Imon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so my question simply is, perhaps to invite you in the supplementary affidavit or statement to provide further detail regarding specifically these 4 cases. And my interest in them lies in the fact that the IPID failed to act thereupon. So it assists if we have the detail, then we can follow up with IPID to determine why it is these matters were not acted upon, although they were formally brought to IPID's attention. Would you be able to do that for us in the supplementary
We'll
statement?
try if we get information from council.
And on that score, I don't know, sitting here, whether you are able to, or perhaps in a day or 2 after you've conferred with your attorneys, in regard to the request I have made, whether you are able to identify documentation that you would potentially need to address that request. And if your attorneys could furnish that to us ASAP, and we see if we can obtain the documents on your behalf from the city.
We'll try.
We'll try, okay. And please add on then to that list, if I understood correctly, following the engagement you just had with Commissioner Baloyi regarding the assault and the pushing of the pregnant lady that you say you specifically reported to council. So if you could try and recall the time in which that happened to narrow our search within the Ekurhuleni Council to try and locate the report that you made to council.
Yeah, we'll try and get the information.
Thank you. And perhaps if you could indicate to us by Wednesday the nature of the documents that you require so that we try and locate them, because your agreement with the chair is that your supplementary will come in by Monday next week. Okay. Chair, might this be an appropriate time for a tea adjournment? Thank you.
Sorry,
Yes,
Mr.
Commissioner.
Before we break for tea, Dr. Mashazi, just to close off this paragraph, in paragraph 50.1, you mention, and I think I would like to be clear what it is you are saying in your evidence. You mention Lieutenant Colonel Tepa as one of the people that Chief Mapie referred to as his angels. You have also, in your explanation, said at some point she was put in to be one of your protectors by him. But it is in a paragraph where you speak about her. It's in a paragraph where you say Chief Mapie had children with subordinates who were vulnerable to his abuse of power, including conduct amounting to sexual harassment, coercion, and rape. Just to be clear from your evidence, are you saying that Colonel Tepa is one of the people that you refer to as subordinates that have had children with the chief, that have been the victims of his abuse of power, coercion, sexual harassment, and rape? Are you saying that about her?
I have explained that if you are called an angel, it means you are playing along. If you are not an angel, obviously if you are not called an angel, you will not play along with chief and agree to be abused, sexually abused.
I think we have to go past innuendo. This is very damaging if it is not backed up by facts. I'm happy for you to say it's fact, what you are saying about her, and you will give us evidence that backs it up. We won't stop you doing that. But if you're relying on innuendo because she's called one of my angels, and you say, therefore, she must have had an improper relationship with him, that is not permissible. So I'm asking you a direct question. Do you say it as a fact
It's a
that
fact
Colonel Tepa had an improper relationship with Chief Mapie, and in particular, and maybe let me put it as specific as what I think you're suggesting, she had a sexual relationship with Chief Mapie? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
And you have evidence of that? that you will include in your supplementary statement?
Evidence of them having an affair. Did you ask for evidence from Xolani?
No.
Ngqiza?
No.
No,
Miss
ma'am, did you ask evidence from Ngqiza when he said, I have extramural activities with Mkhwanazi?
I'm asking you the question. You don't ask me questions. I ask you
Okay.
questions.
So I
You
have
are
no comment.
May I please speak? You are a witness. You have to allow me to speak and we'll give you the chance to answer. You make very serious statement about Colonel Tipper. I'm not speaking about anybody else at this point. I'm speaking about Colonel Tipper. You make a very serious allegation about her. And what I'm asking of you is, if you know as a fact, can we have it in your statement if it is a fact? Because Colonel Tipper will have to deal with this.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Colonel Tepa herself also, she said, I have a close relationship with Mkhwanazi. And I never, in the statement, you asking, or the commission asking them, that do you have evidence that I have a close relationship with Mkhwanazi?
Okay.
So it's the same answer, ma'am.
All right. Thank you for that answer.
Chair, before we stand down for tea, may I just ask one question to the witness? Dr. Mashazi, I understand particularly with reference to your last answer that it was suggested by one of the witnesses that you had a close relationship with Mr. Mkhwanazi. Do you equate that to a claim by you that a female member, subordinate, had a sexual relationship with their senior at work? Do you place those on par, those two claims?
I cannot comment on that.
No, you are the one making the statement, so I want to know whether, are they the
But
same?
I don't want to comment on that, Commissioner. Thank you.
Okay.
For the record, Doctor, it was actually Commissioner Baloyi
Commissioner Baloyi.
who engaged Mr. Ngqiza on the nature of the relationship. So I'm just saying, for the record, it should become clear that the statement did not just pass without engagement. Commissioner Baloyi engaged Mr. Ngqiza to get an idea of what exactly the proximity, I think that's the word Mr. Ngqiza used, what exactly he meant by proximity. So Mr. Ngqiza was engaged on that issue, for the record. And also, a video was played in which Brigadier Mkhwanazi went so far as to say that he would die for you, he would take a bullet for you. So some evidence was led with regard to the nature of the quote-unquote proximity or the quote-unquote relationship. Not suggesting a sexual relationship, improper relationship, or anything. So some objective evidence was led as to what, in the end, we will make of it. We will decide at the appropriate stage. So I'm just putting that on the record to make sure that you do not leave this commission saying that, as you were suggesting to Commissioner Baloyi, that there was no engagement at all with regard to the relationship that Mr. Ngqiza was suggesting.
Yeah,
May we take the adjournment at this stage? And resume at 11:25. Let's adjourn.
Thank you, Chair.
That the Ekurhuleni City Manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, has been giving before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Before we get into those details, it is 11:07, but we are going to take the latest news update. So let's take you over to the news desk, and then when we come back, we'll continue with our reflections of the hearings.
Thank you, Kathy. On the top stories, several houses flooded in Pretoria and UK Special Forces chief accused in Afghan killings cover-up. For SFM News, I'm Wanda Lamban and a very good morning. The city of Tshwane says several houses in the northern suburbs of Pretoria flooded. This follows heavy rains which accompanied severe thunderstorms last night. The city's emergency services personnel are currently assessing the situation. Nana Khiba is the spokesperson.
We are doing a situational report of other parts of Tshwane that are affected. We urge motorists not to drive on flooded roads and those that are living in low-lying areas to move up because flash flooding will happen if it rains continuously.
3 suspects have been killed and 3 others wounded in a shootout with police at Pelandaba in Manguzi in northern KwaZulu-Natal. The incident took place last night. Police say the suspects were wanted for 3 murders committed at Pelandaba in 2023 and another at Ingwavuma in October this year. Provincial Police spokesperson Robert Nechuunda says the suspects were found in possession of 2 firearms. He says investigations have revealed that one of them is a police firearm, which was reported lost in Durban in 2009.
Police received intelligence that the suspects were at Pelandaba area, and when police approached them, the suspects fired shots at police officers. To protect themselves and other innocent residents, police returned fire and a shootout ensued. During the shootout, 2 suspects were shot and fatally wounded at the scene. 4 suspects were taken to a nearby health facility, where one of them was declared dead upon arrival. Police records further indicate that the same firearm was recovered at Nhlanhleni police station in 2010. Investigations are underway to establish how the same firearm ended up in the hands of the criminals again. Those who will be found to be responsible for negligence or any act of criminality will face the full might of the law.
Lobby group AfriForum has denied allegations that it is spreading disinformation that government is committing genocide against Afrikaners in South Africa. This after President Cyril Ramaphosa condemned what he called a disinformation campaign that was impacting South Africa's relations with the U.S. Ramaphosa said that the false information that some groups and individuals were spreading had influenced the U.S. administration's stance on South Africa. Critics have accused AfriForum of spreading disinformation in the U.S. following its trip to the White House in February this year. AfriForum CEO Kali Grill.
AfriForum never spread any misinformation. Real misinformation that is trying to deny real threat. President Trump is 10 days later. AfriForum played no role in that.
Some residents of Hamasemula in the Sekhukhune district in Limpopo say they are grateful that the government is providing ARV treatment to those who need it. The National Health Department has also announced a soon-to-be introduced new injection. Lenacapavir is aimed at reducing the spread of the virus. Deputy President Paul Mashatile is expected to deliver the keynote address at the World AIDS Day national commemorations at the Masemola Stadium. One of the residents, Moipune Matlanyane, says she's expecting Mashatile to speak about other HIV preventative measures, particularly among young girls.
HIV contributed to a great loss of the lives of our loved ones. The government, however, came with the efforts to rid our communities of the virus by introducing and supplying medication. We are still making a plea to the government to continue fighting this scourge as we worry for the young people of this country.
2 former heads of UK Special Forces have been accused of suppressing evidence of war crimes. Their claims were made at a public inquiry examining allegations of the unlawful killing by the UK government Special Force, the SAS in Afghanistan. The BBC's Richard Bolton has the details.
The officer who gave evidence without the public present was one of the most senior in UK Special Forces. He told the inquiry he was deeply troubled by what he strongly suspected was the unlawful killing of innocent people. He said 2 former heads of UK Special Forces knew of the allegations but failed to act. We contacted the men he named. One didn't respond. The other denied the accusations and said he would provide a comprehensive response in his evidence to the inquiry in due course. The MOD said the government was fully committed to supporting the independent inquiry, but would wait for the outcome before commenting further.
Recapping the top story, the city of Tshwane says several houses in the northern suburbs of Pretoria are flooded. This follows heavy rains which accompanied severe thunderstorms last night. I'm Wandilambana for SFM News headlines at 11:30.
You could spend 10 minutes on social media or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 GWMP series, 54-year-old Amos now pays only 1,004 Rand a month. And for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser, 55-year-old Andre pays just 776 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 42876. That's out to 42876. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
The Atlas Lionesses of Morocco and Mzansi's Banyana Banyana return to the battlefield. The rivalry between the North and the South continues. This is the international friendly. Witness the spectacular encounter between Morocco and South Africa this Tuesday, 2 December at 7:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
5 teams, one epic journey. No flights, no smartphones, just grit, maps, and pure determination. Race Across the World Season 3 is back, and the stakes have never been higher. From bustling cities to remote villages, who will conquer the chaos and cross the finish line first? Thursdays at 6 p.m. only on S3.
Mntanami, uthando has no return. Stay, bekezele. It's what makes you a woman. A home is built with patience and quiet. Thula. Don't answer back. Just keep the peace. That's what we were taught.
When you see it, you see the line between love and bekezela. Abusive behavior should never be excused. Search Bright Sky SA and bring the signs of GBV into focus. Connecting for good. Vodacom.
This week on BBC Primetime, watching TV could make you a winner. It's the BBC Primetime Watch and Win competition. Just tune into your BBC Primetime shows, answer a few simple questions on S3's TikTok account, and you could walk away with awesome prizes. From thrilling dramas to jaw-dropping reality shows, the more you watch, the more chances you have to win. Watch, answer, win. Only on BBC Primetime. Airs weeknights 9 to 11 p.m. on S3. Your couch just became the best seat in the game.
The Talking Point with Kathy Motlatlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
All right, so it is 16 after 11 o'clock. Welcome to the third and final hour of the Talking Point. And as we have been doing, we've been staying then with the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And we are hearing evidence today from the former Ekurhuleni City Manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, who has been talking about just some of the matters relating to interference to some level that are said to have taken place within the city of Ekurhuleni. She herself has had a number of allegations made against her, while other witnesses, particularly from the EMPD, were giving evidence and from the city. So one certainly notes the tone with which this morning's evidence has begun, and it has been quite a fiery morning of evidence so far, and quite tense at points, and one wonders if it's necessarily, or if it's necessary really, to have this tension that is seemingly there. Will it help us get to fully understand what exactly has been happening in the city of Ekurhuleni? But nonetheless, even by Dr. Mashazi's own admission and own evidence before this commission, it is a story that I think should make all of us stop and just listen to the things that are coming out. Listen to just how much is getting in the way of officials doing what they need to be doing on a day-to-day basis, right? And I mean, at some point, I think my jaw just dropped because one just can't believe that these are the things that are occupying the time, the minds of those who's serving at the highest level. So certainly still more to come out of this evidence. We'll take some of your WhatsApp voice notes, and then of course very soon it'll be back into the commission when it concludes from the tea break.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Katie. Dr. Mashazi, she's so defensive, so defensive. But hey, it was so tense, it was so tense. Hoping to hear more. Yeah, lovely show. 2 to 10 from Midrand.
Good morning, Katie. Yo, this commission, you see, when you're old, very old, and you try to lie to the professional people who knows the law, you will end up crying. You will end up crying. Yo,
Sis Kathy, good morning. I think the young lawyers and magistrates and prosecutors are learning from this commission. I mean, I love the way this lady did not put emotions because this lady was testifying about the ladies being abused, but she wanted facts. Thank you so much for this wonderful resource. That's this team.
Molo Mohlashe. This so-called Dr. Mashaz, she thinks she's the only clever person in the entire South Africa. We are not stupid. She comes here and claims that people were promoted and others who came some years ago were never promoted. What about her boyfriend, Julius Mkwanazi, who only was promoted within a year, whereas there were people, older people who worked for more than 30 years. What about his Nkabi? That he was threatening people that he was gonna police Nkabi and Nkabi get rid of whosoever stands her way. She mustn't come and fool us.
Hi, Sis Kathy. I do hope my doctor, when she comes back, she will be calm. Otherwise, it's not going to work for her. She's just focusing on people and not on giving evidence. Rasida here.
Sis Kathy, good morning. I think the young lawyers and magistrates and prosecutors are learning from this commission. I mean, I love the way this lady did not put emotions because this lady was testifying about the ladies being abused, but she wanted facts. Thank you so much for this wonderful resource of this team.
Hi, Kathy. Bandum Chiselwa here. I know South Africa, I am really of an opinion that South Africa is a simulation. It cannot be real. This cannot be real. with these commissions and corruption and interference of mafia elements into states' business, no. Our country is a simulation. So Zuve.
Monica, why criminals are so popular, especially those who have money amongst girls, even the doctors. There's no truth in this country. People are not honest. Some of them are applauding criminals. And Matlala didn't respect even this because he's involved with big bosses in SA, even Brown Mokgotsi, the prisons, the hotels. I wish China can rule here. There will be a lot of people getting death penalty. Thank you, Kate.
Morning, lovely SAFM. Bendiga from Cape Town here. Lovely weather, but not so lovely weather for the doctor there. But just again, can see why so many municipalities fail. Accounting officer is not accounting at all. They say, when are we going to get this right? Have a lovely day.
Kathy, you are very right about that the government can deliver in a high speed pace when it comes to important functions. So I think it is the rightful mentality for the government and the president to take us more serious, like the way that they take other events so seriously. We are the most important thing because we are the ones who voted them into power. We are the ones that they are working for. So they must deliver like the way they delivered the World Cup, they delivered this G20. They must focus on us, they must hear us out, they must listen to what we want. And yes, indeed, they do have the funds to deliver in a high speed pace. They don't have to tell us they don't have funds, they have to go and borrow funds somewhere. The president must do his job. It is high time for him to focus on us and stop focusing on international countries. We are the ones who are suffering now.
Morning, Kathy. I think our president is making the big mistake by not reassuring this fellow South Africans towards Trump's action. Because we're supposed to come and reassure the fellow South Africans. Fellow South Africans, Trump, his time is coming to an end. We'll keep our relationship with the Americans. We'll resuscitate whatever he did, and then get back to normal. And then the fellow South Africa will know, like, you know what, let us pause a bit in terms of trading with this country. Then after Trump's time, and then we'll come back. Thank you very much, Justice again.
Good morning, Auntie Kathy. How are you? Hope you well. Raleboga go tlile gae. It's wonderful. It's been a long time. Rata utlwa your voice. Yeah, Sis Kathy, for us Africans, it's not the last month. December ke kgwedi ya boraro. New year was done. That is 21 September. So yes, it's the third month. December. Yeah. So it's our African calendar. Yes. Thank you. Thank you again for coming back. Alex, I'll your voice. We happy that you're back. Thank you.
Hi, Kathy. Good morning. How is this Madlanga and ETA committee then can continue throughout December, especially when most of us is going on leave? Because I love South Africa's reality shows, court cases, all the commissions, and the holiday is really going to be bought without them. Listening to their lies, cover-up stories, but it is so much interesting, and it was to watch and listen to Ket Matlala. You can't get bigger lies than this. But South Africa, oh my word, I love my country, John Cape Town.
Because the microphone won't pick up the answer. So just to remind you each time. Point one, following paragraph 54. Are we there?
Yes, ma'am.
At point 1, you were invited following paragraph 54. Are we there?
Yes, ma'am.
At point 1, you were invited to comment on the provisions of section 64C2 of the South African Police Act Service Act of 68 and 1995, and to provide your own interpretation as city manager of the powers set out therein, insofar as they relate to the chief of police. You confirm that? Your answer to that specific question then starts at paragraph 55. If you could take the commissioners through your response.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I understand the SEFS Act 64C2 of 1995 is that the municipal council will appoint a municipal police service, and the executive head of that will be the chief of police, and the accounting officer will be the chief executive officer. Therefore, the powers of the chief of police are subject to the directive of the chief executive officer, which is the accounting office.
Okay. Apologies. You proceed then from paragraph 56 to reference the systems of delegations, and you have attached an excerpt from the Municipal Systems Act number 32 of 2000. That excerpt you have annexed as IM8. If you go to the annexures bundle, IM8 at page 29.
Yes, ma'am, I found.
Have you located it? Okay.
Yes.
Earlier, I referenced a series of files to your right, and at the time I suggested that you not concern yourself with. Those, for the record, are the complete bundles of the 4 witnesses who testified from EMPD, to wit, Chief Mapieye, Commissioner Spies, Mr. Ngiza, and Ms. Tepa. Those are the files to your right, together with their respective annexures. I indicated that I will refer to them from time to time, and they are marked on the spine with their respective names. Can you then pull out the statement of Chief Mapieye? It will be a file of statement and annexures. And in particular, I would like to refer you to page 7
of the statement
of the statement of Mr. Mapieye. And I refer to page 7, paragraph 21, for convenience purely because Chief Mapieye quoted section 64C2 in full, which is the section that you are engaging with under this heading.
Yes.
And you will see from that quotation that it provides that the executive head, and you'll confirm that the executive, reference to the executive here is the chief of police.
Yes, ma'am.
Subject to this act being the SAPS Act, and a few other prescripts, exercise control over the municipal service, and shall, amongst other things, and then it lists, let's say, his powers and duties. Do you confirm that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do you confirm that section 64C provides that the chief of police is appointed by council and reports to council through the city manager.
That's correct.
With that understanding, therefore, kindly explain whether the Section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act that you annex alters that position in any way. You remember, it doesn't. So the powers bestowed upon the chief of police as set out in Chief Mapie's paragraph 21 remain unaffected by the provisions of Section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act. I want, when you either confirm or you don't, that's what I'm trying to test.
I don't.
You don't what?
I don't confirm.
Okay, what is the position? What is the impact in your understanding of Section 56 on the powers of the chief of police?
Yeah, in fact, let me start by saying, in as much as there's a SEPS Act which deals with the powers of the chief of police, but the chief of police is appointed under the Municipal Systems Act, Section 56. Therefore, the powers that is being given by the SEPS Act must be read with the powers of the Municipal Systems Act as a senior manager.
Yes.
As a senior manager. And also in terms of some of the, I know that there'll be criticism that systems of delegations cannot supersede the legislation. That I understand. But this is how the council works. Council is a third sphere of government, which is obviously autonomous from other spheres. All the spheres of government are actually autonomous to each other. For instance, in council, we have our own legislation like your Municipal Systems Act, your Structures Act, the Municipal Finance Management Act, but we do take cognizance of certain acts that affect different portfolios within council, like your Health Act, which affect the social health and social development, and the SEPS Act that actually affects the operations of police. Hence, I'm saying that the two acts must be read together. And in terms of the statement here that I usurped his powers, it cannot be true because I operate under the Municipal Systems Act and the council has approved delegations, and also Section 56 is clear in terms of the powers of the senior managers or the powers of the accounting officer. If it is his notion that I usurp his powers, unfortunately, I cannot confirm that and agree to that.
I thank you for that. You don't have it immediately before you. But I am going to read out some sections from the SAPS Act itself. And in particular, it's section 64, capital B. And it reads as follows, I quote, the chief executive officer of a municipality shall be responsible to the municipal council for the functioning of municipal services, police service. You heard that. So he's accountable, is responsible and accountable to the council. Section 64C, sub 1, provides that subject to section 64D, a municipal council shall appoint a member of the municipal police service as the executive head thereof. You heard that.
Yes.
Based on that, do we at least accept that insofar as the SAPS Act is concerned, the chief of police is appointed by council and is accountable to the municipal council?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then I want to refer you to your annexure IM8, at page 29 to point out whether the difference between the two sections, section 64C read with 64B and of the subsect and section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act is as follows. If you could turn to your page 29 of the bundle.
Yes, ma'am.
The section you invoked is section 56, appointment of managers directly accountable to municipal managers. 56 sub 1 sub A provides a municipal council after consultation with the municipal manager must appoint Roman 1, a manager directly accountable to the municipal manager. In the context of what sections 64B and C provide of the Subs Act, that is not the chief of police, because the chief of police, we know from that act, is accountable to council. Would you have a challenge with that proposition?
The Municipal Systems Act, as I understand it, and the SEPS Act, as I understand it, it says the executive head, the head will be the chief of police. But in terms of his powers are subject to the chief executive officer, which is the accounting officer. And then in terms of this section 56(1), a manager accountable to the municipal manager, chief in terms of his employment or contract, which we will send with the team, he's appointed as a senior manager under the Municipal Systems Act.
I'm testing my understanding now of what you say. So therefore, because you say he's appointed in terms of section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act, he therefore becomes accountable to the city manager.
Yes.
And you suggest that we overlook the provisions of the Subs Act, which makes him accountable to council.
Can you repeat your question?
My question is, based on what you have just said, and I'm checking whether I understand you correctly, that section 56, and you say he's appointed in terms of that section of the Municipal Systems Act, makes him accountable to the city manager, section 56.
Yes.
And you say that should be the prevailing section, and we overlook the fact that the Subs Act prescribes that the chief of police is accountable to council. Do we overlook the provisions of the Subs Act?
I'm not overlooking that particular Subs Act. Remember, the Subs Act is about the chief of police
Yes.
being the head, and it refers to me as the chief executive officer, and that his powers are subject to my directive as a chief executive officer. Then when you go to section 56, it is clear that even his employment contract, he reports to me directly. He doesn't report to council. He's the head of department of EMPD, to an extent that the current structure, organizational structure, that was done now by council, the chief of police position has been downgraded. There'll be a head of community services, like in the list of positions, the list of departments that I referred to in my statement. We no longer have a department of EMPD or Ekurhuleni Metropolis. It is under the head community services. He may not even be a police officer. He may be a firefighter. So these are two departments that have been merged. So I don't know how are we going to deal with these two legislations, because at some point, because of this confusion between the two legislation, I suggested to Chief in one of my statements that Chief, because there is this gray area about the Subs Act in terms of your powers and the systems and the Municipal Systems Act, please create a policy for me. Create a policy for me. I don't know which, maybe at some point we'll go through it. Create a policy so that we avoid these gray areas in dealing with issues in the EMPD, because they are very peculiar. I'm not a police officer. and I do not deal with the SAPS Act on a daily basis, and I don't deal only with the Metro Police. You can imagine that I have 26 departments, and they're all scattered within the city. Metro Police itself is in Kempton Park, like 50 kilometers away from the head office where my office was based. So it is important that these two acts, obviously, they're creating a gray area. Hence, I try to address it by requesting him to create the police, because for me, it was a confusion.
Is it possible, and I put it no higher than that, that perhaps the error arose in his appointment by invoking Section 56? Is it possible that in appointing him, the council relied on Section 56
Yes.
when it ought to have relied on Section 64? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay. Now, you say you recognize the conflict between the two because they deal with an important issue, which is the final repository of the power. You have a legal department within the city, I accept. Is that correct? Did you inquire from the legal department, or did you request an opinion to address specifically that conflict? Because I don't see how the chief of police, who is not a lawyer, to my understanding, would have assisted you. Did you direct perhaps a request to the legal department?
Well, the issue of conflict in terms of this thing, the SEPS Act as well as the Municipal Systems Act, will remain a gray area for council. It's council that is supposed to actually take into cognizance the existence of this act. And one may argue to say that this has been our general argument, that chief was appointed under Section 56 of the Municipal Act, not under the SEPS Act. And he draws his salary from the Municipal Systems Act or from municipal council that has created systems of delegations that is governed through the Systems Act. So it's something that needs to be addressed by council, to be honest.
I appreciate that, and thank you for that answer. My question really was whether or not you had turned at any point to the city's legal department to seek guidance as to the correct interpretation and approach. You
Not
hadn't.
yet. I only requested a policy from chief to
Yes.
assist me in dealing with the challenges that we face between the Systems Act and the SEPS Act in terms of its powers.
Noted. And I raise this issue specifically, and I do accept that it's a tad technical legal interpretations, and I do appreciate any challenges you may have in that regard. But I raise it particularly because it informs a number of decisions that you subsequently took that we will be dealing with. And it was necessary that the steps you took or the responses you gave be placed in their proper context as to your understanding of what your powers were and what his as the chief of police were. You state then at your paragraph 58 that the chief of police's powers are subject to your directives. And that, if I go back to Chief Mapiea's quotation of Section 64C, you derive from what's quoted there, because it specifically provides the executive head shall, subject to this act, national standards and the directives of the chief executive officer of the municipality, exercise control over the municipal police service and shall, and then enumerates the powers granted him. Now you say those powers enumerated there, the chief of police must exercise subject to your directives. My question is, what impact did you understand any directives that you issue to have on those powers set out in 64? Does it strip the chief of police of the powers because you so direct? Or what is the impact of the directives? Because you say these powers are further subject to my directive.
Well, as I indicated that I function, or I exercise my powers using the Systems Act. I am employed under the Systems Act, Section 54, and he's employed under the Systems Act, Section 56. So in terms of the powers, from those powers are actually interpreted as and when there are challenges. For instance, there was misunderstanding about the appointment, and I relied on the systems of delegations as well as the Systems Act. That, well, Chief, in as much as you are saying you are responsible for appointing from deputy chief of police up to a cleaner in your department, it is not possible. Hence, council has created systems of delegation. When is he going to do his work? When he must sit in the interviews of junior officials. So the systems of delegations, as approved by council, is meant to assist senior managers to concentrate on the general performance of the department, on governance issues, and on strategic issues than on operational issues. So that's why I relied on the systems of delegations, because I'm actually subject to actually adhere to them, as well as him, because he is appointed under the Systems Act, Municipal System Act. He's not in the. Okay, fine. Let me stop there.
Okay, thank you for that. Uh, I'm interested in your understanding of the effect of your directives on the powers of the chief of police as listed, and I'll give you an example. Sub B of that section 64, capital C, sub 2, stipulates that subject, of course, to the Act, to national standards, and directives of the chief executive officer of the municipality, the chief of police shall be responsible for the recruitment, appointment, promotion, and transfer of members of the municipal police service. Police. And am I correct to understand that's a reference to men and women in uniform who are the police? So if the Act says he is responsible for that function, I want to understand, to get your understanding as to the effect of any directives you may issue as city manager on that power. Can you strip him of that power, as you understood things?
As I understand, I used the systems of delegation that actually explains the powers of the chief, which level can he appoint. He is, in terms of the systems of delegations approved by council, he is only responsible to appoint his deputies, and his deputies are delegated to deal with the lower levels and the executive managers, etc., etc. In terms of, I relied on the systems of delegation, in as much as there is this notion that I usurped his powers, but I worked with documents that council uses. Remember, we are both appointed by council, in as much as he has this subs act that gave him powers. Hence, I said there is a gray area between the two legislation, which at some point council needs to actually acknowledge and correct some of these things. Remember, as an accounting officer, you are appointed in terms of the legislation, and you must abide by that legislation, which is the Municipal Systems Act, and also the systems of delegations, which are approved by council. I cannot go outside that in terms of my directive.
I understood. Thank you for that. But just to close on that topic, when we at paragraph 58, at page 11, you state his powers are further subject to my directives. That is a reference to his powers in terms of the SAPS Act, not the Municipal Systems Act, correct?
Both.
Okay, I'll accept both. Can I try again then to say, what does your directives do to his powers? Can you change his powers? Can you strip him of his powers?
I can't.
Okay. So your directives would never have that effect, whether the powers derive from the Systems Act or the SAPS Act.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Can I just
Yes,
clarify this?
yes, Commissioner.
Dr. Mashazi, it requires a yes answer, and you can elaborate if you so wish. My understanding of your evidence is that to the extent that you participated in recruitment, appointment, transfers within the municipal police, you believe that you were acting in terms of powers conferred upon Municipal Systems Act and the systems of delegation. Whether you are right or wrong, that's a separate issue, but you believe that these two instruments permitted you to do that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Commissioner. I never participated in the employment of junior officials. I only participate in the appointment of HODs. That is a powers in terms of the Systems Act, that the accounting officers shall be the chairperson of the panel to appoint senior managers, including chief of police. Then when you go to the delegations are clear. Then such powers from the municipal accounting officer are further subdelegated to the HODs, which is now chief of police. Chief of police powers are delegated to appoint divisional heads, which are his deputies. Then further to that, I've attached a copy. Deputies are responsible to appoint the next level. So meaning at the inspector level, the lowest level, it will be your superintendent who are going to be delegated, to appoint those junior officials. I do not sit in the interviews of junior officials, including the divisional heads. The divisional heads, chief sits there as the chairperson of those panels, including the appointment of General Mkhwanazi. He said there.
You say you did not take any powers away from him.
No.
You simply followed the Municipal Systems Act and the systems of delegation.
Correct.
So it was not you taking powers away from him.
Correct.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, Commissioner Kwalo.
Dr. Mashazi, just to make sure that I understand, I'm looking at this delegation document at page 27 of the bundle. That's IM7. I just want to make sure that I understand, I'm reading it correctly.
Can you raise your voice?
Page 27 of the bundle, it's IM7.
Yes.
And I just want to make sure that I understand it correctly. So what you've got there is you've got in that shaded part, it says the HOD has the following, EMPD has the following assigned to him in terms of the applicable legislation. You see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you go to item 2 thereof, it says responsible for maintaining an impartial, accountable, transparent appointment, promotion, and transfer of members of the Metro Police Service. If you go to the column with delegation, where the heading is delegation, you see what I'm saying, where I'm reading?
Yes.
Am I reading it correctly to say that that power in 2, he exercises it in respect of divisional heads? Is that the way to read it?
Yes.
Okay. And then when you go to 3, item 3, which says responsible for recruitment, appointment, promotion, and transfer of members, subject to applicable law, that applies to divisional heads and executive managers.
Correct.
And then lastly, responsible for the discipline of the municipal police service, that applies to divisional head, executive managers, and managers. So he's got the power over those people.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, I understand. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Dr. Mashazi. That then brings us to the end of question 1. And I would then like to invite us to consider question 2. For that purpose, I think you can close the file containing Chief Mapiere's statement. You can put it aside to make some space for yourself. You deal, question 2 inquired from you as to your knowledge of and a role, if any, in the conclusion of 2 memoranda of agreement by Brigadier Mkhwanazi on behalf of the city of Ekurhuleni, and invited you to give comments. Do you see that? I'm at page 11 of your statement. Verbal. Do you see where I am in your statement?
Yes,
and following paragraph 58. And you deal cumulatively with the question 2.1 and 2.2, because the one question was specific to the Memorandum of Agreement with Medicare 24 during or about October 2021, and the other one being item 2.2 dealt with Memorandum of Agreement concluded with CAT VIP protection during or about October 2021. You then provide your answer from paragraph 59 at page 11 through to 66. Would you like to take the commissioners through your response as regards any knowledge you had regarding the conclusion of these two documents and any role you played, if any, in the conclusion of the two documents? Thank you.
Thank you, SC. The document, the memoranda, the two memoranda that were signed by Brigadier Mkhwanazi. To my knowledge, it did not come to the attention of my office, and I did not know the origin, and I did not even know that they were implemented. For me, it is irregular for the department or a junior official to enter into a memorandum or memoranda without the accounting officer. The memoranda obviously contained the issue of the donation and so forth, but for me it was illegal. It was not within his powers to actually enter into those memoranda.
You reference annexures IM 9 and IM 10, which appear in your annexure bundle, page 9 and page 31, my apologies, and page 32 respectively. Your bundle file, headed annexures. And I'm referring you to annexures 9 and 10, which appear at page 31 and 32 respectively.
Page, apologies for
No,
that.
no, it's quite okay.
Page?
Page 31.
Yes. Page 31, yes, ma'am.
Please confirm that that is marked IM 9.
Yes.
And it's an email with a name at the top, Liesel Tires. Is that where we are at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We are going to have regard to that document and the following one, which is IM 10. And then you annex the two memoranda as IM 11 and IM 12, respectively. Okay. Now, you indicate in your statement, and I think you have confirmed now in oral testimony, that you had no knowledge of the conclusion of these documents, these memoranda. You played no role in their conclusion. You state at paragraph 63, the first time I saw, and at page 12, the first time I saw signed versions of the memoranda was on 26 November 2025. Is that correct? No, Dr. Mashazi.
I beg your pardon?
We have to be verbal in our responses.
Correct.
Thank you. Now, you specifically call them signed versions. Does that suggest you have seen unsigned versions?
Yes, I have.
Where have you seen them?
It was through communication between, it was in the, I think it was in the iPad report. I don't recall, but we will check and verify.
Because you have annexed IM 9 and IM 10 at paragraph 65, and we said IM 9 starts at page 31. That's an email. And this, as I read it, is an email from Jermaine Fortain. It's dated the 24th of October, 2021. Do you see where I'm reading? Mhm. And it reads, "Good day, Lizelle. For attention, if the chief, I guess that's off. Draft proposal accepted by Medicare 24. Yet to do some amendments." You see where I'm reading? Mhm. Am I reading this correctly, that this particular email had attached to it the two memoranda? Mhm. Sound. Yes, ma'am. Is it the two memoranda that were attached to this email?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you suggesting that that email forwarded the unsigned memoranda? Is that what you're saying, or am I misunderstanding you?
Yes, ma'am. As we indicated about the time constraint and the volume of, of evidence and statements, and as well as transcripts from the witnesses. Well, our statement needs to be amended in terms of that. In terms of this particular sentence, and we would amend that.
Okay, for the record, just indicate the extent to which you'd like to amend that sentence, just to
Yeah,
place it on record.
that we first saw the signed one, but to be honest, the question that you posed to me is, was I aware?
Yes.
Of the memoranda? And my answer was that I was not aware, and also it was irregular for the department to enter into that. But in terms of how and when, which one was signed, in terms of iPad report, whether it was signed or not, I cannot give you a definite answer. That's why I'm saying we'll go back and recorrect.
Okay, because you attach at paragraph 64 the two signed memoranda, marked
Yes.
annexed to IM 11
Mm.
and 12.
Mm.
Am I understanding you correctly that IM 11 and 12 are the signed versions that you first came to learn of on the 26th of November 2025?
Exactly.
When they were presented to your attorneys?
Yes.
Okay. Then does that suggest that you were aware of unsigned versions?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able, firstly, where did you obtain the unsigned versions, if I may inquire?
I don't remember. As I'm saying that because of the time constraint,
Yes.
it was difficult for us to get information anyway. And as I indicated during our session, that when you request document, you are requested to go through the POPI Act and so forth and so forth. So the time given to us, it was definitely difficult, because at some point we requested some document and we told that we must apply. My attorney must apply. And I'm expected to appear and give proper evidence in terms of my testimony.
Okay. Then the annexure IM 11 and IM 12, which you say you obtained from the commission, attached, are both signed and date by above the name J.D. Mkwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. And I'm looking specifically at page 42, 35 and 42 of the two annexures. You see that?
Yes, ma'am.
At page 35, it's the conclusion of the first memorandum. There's a signature there that has been redacted. It's J.D. Mkwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. The second memorandum, JM 11, starts at page 37, and page 42, once again, has got a redacted signature, and above the name J.D. Mkwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. And these are the documents that you say you obtained from the commission. Both of them are dated, partly dated. No, they are not dated. They reference, however, an effective date of 10/2021. Do you accept that, just from the
Yes,
document
I do.
itself?
Yes, I do.
So we can accept that these would have come to your attention at the earliest in October 2021, at the very earliest, not before. Do you accept my logic?
I don't.
They are dated October 2021. They would suggest that they would not have been in existence prior to that date.
Yeah, they were never brought to my attention, as I indicated. Whether they are dated 2021, he signed them in 2021, or all I'm saying is I don't want to get into details of when was it signed, the draft, and so forth. All I want to respond to, according to my knowledge and according to my understanding, is that the two documents were never brought to my attention. This is the practice from the Department of Metropolis, not the city itself, because if I was aware of such memoranda, I was going to take action, to be honest, because it is irregular for a department to enter into any relationship with external service provider without the knowledge of the accounting officer.
And my question was informed by your statement that you had seen the unsigned version of these memoranda. And I was trying to determine, and for that we will have to rely on your memory, as to when that could possibly have been that you saw unsigned memoranda.
Can you repeat the question?
I say my question regarding these two is informed by what you stated, paragraph 63. You said the first time I saw signed versions was when you obtained them from the commission. I had asked you a question, that's whether it is correct to understand that means you have seen unsigned versions, and you confirmed that. So I wanted to determine when that could possibly have been that you saw unsigned versions of these two memoranda.
I think it was during the IP report. I'm not sure. Hence, ma'am, I'm saying, can we be given an opportunity to go and confirm?
I'm happy to do that. I don't have a challenge, but I just want to know what opportunity we are giving you.
Yes.
Yes. Are we giving you an opportunity to go test whether or not you saw the unsigned memoranda in the IPID report?
Yes.
Or whether you saw them elsewhere?
Yes.
Okay. But as a guesstimate, you would say it's most probably the IPID report, although I will not hold you to that answer until you have cross-checked.
Okay.
Okay. And you conclude that section by saying you had no knowledge of these memoranda or either one of them. You don't even know, I'm now at paragraph 65, whether they were ever implemented, and you confirm that you did not play any role whatsoever in their conclusion. That's correct. And you then invite the commission to turn to Chief Mapieye and Brigadier Mkwanazi to explain how these memoranda came into existence and how they were signed.
Correct.
Thank you. That then concludes your response to the second question as regard. Yes,
Mr.
Commissioner.
Before you leave this section, Dr. Mashazi, around February 2023, there was a media inquiry from a News 24 journalist, where that journalist was asking about the very memoranda we are discussing under this section. Did you at that stage become aware of that inquiry?
It is true that I had that interview with the journalist. His inquiry was about the investigation, the internal investigation, not actually the memoranda, the two memoranda. It was about the investigation and the discipline, the investigation from IPIT. What was my understanding? What have we done with the IPIT report? That was the basis of the interview with the journalist.
No, I'm not asking about the media interview you had. I'm asking about inquiry from a journalist called Jeff Wicks on 2 February 2023,
Yes.
which was addressed to EMPD or Ekurhuleni, where the subject of the inquiry was this very memoranda that we are discussing now?
Unfortunately, I did not deal with that particular inquiry. And even the investigation, it was between the HR and chief of police as well as HOD legal. I think he's going to speak more about it, the HOD legal, because he's the one who went through the process with the chief of police. And he's the one who went through that. And he further complained about the leakage of information. So I cannot comment on that.
And then the IPID report, because you say in 61.1 of your statement that it was presented to you by officials of IPID on or about September 2023.
Yes.
So it was presented to you.
The IPID report, yes, was presented to me.
And am I correct that the IPID report recommended that the city of Ekurhuleni must charge Julius Mkhwanazi?
Agree.
And the subject of those charges was this very memoranda that we are discussing, that he had entered into this memoranda with CAD Security Services. That was the recommendation from IPID.
Yes, sir.
And you did not act on that recommendation. In fact, you either disregarded it or you chose not to comply with it. I don't know which is which.
In terms of the IPID report was presented. Number one, it was sent to Chief of Police to action because Julius, by then, he was a director. So I did something because the allegations contained in the IPID report were very gross. I acted by referring the report to Corporate and Legal and Chief of Police because Chief of Police is mandated in terms of the SEFS Act to actually discipline members. And Julius, being one of his subordinates, he was supposed to do that. Even when you look at the IPID report, I don't know, I have somewhere where they write to him to implement or to discipline Julius. So from my point, I did something as an accounting officer by referring it, because it's a legal document, I referred the document to HOD Legal, who later informed me that the document is incomplete and he has advised chief or whatever that they cannot take action on this document, rather let them do the internal investigation. But from my part, I did not participate in the discipline of junior officials. My part was for me to accept the report and refer it to the relevant officials who are responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi in terms of his relationship and also the memoranda that he entered into, the blue light story, the registration of vehicles. Those things were dealt with at the departmental level.
So as city manager, when you become aware that at departmental level, in the face of such serious allegations, they have not taken any action against Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, did you just wash your hands? Once you became aware that they have not done anything in the face of such serious allegations, what was your part then?
When I became aware, can you repeat the question?
You say you referred them to the department.
Mhm.
So there was an IPID report. It recommended that Julius Mkhwanazi be charged.
Mhm.
You referred it to the department for Mapiaya to do something about it.
Yes.
You also referred it to legal to have a look at it.
Yes.
And we know nothing came of either the Mapiaya process or the legal process. Now you as city manager, in the face of such serious allegations that impact the city of Ekurhuleni, its credibility, its processes, because you've just said to us, if they entered into those memoranda, that's irregular and you would have done something about it.
Mm.
Now I'm saying to you, when they did not do anything about it, what did you as city manager do? These are serious allegations, Dr. Mashazi. You can't have a situation where a security company that has no relationship with the city of Ekurhuleni brings cars to Ekurhuleni and they are registered in the name of Ekurhuleni, and then they are given back or they are never handed over to the city of Ekurhuleni. And then that very security company uses blue lights. And they use those blue lights because there's supposedly a memoranda concluded between Ekurhuleni and that security company authorizing them to make use of blue lights. I mean, those are serious allegations. And to me, it's not good enough to say, I referred it to MAPA, I referred it to head of legal. When they did not do anything, I also did not do anything. I find that very difficult to accept.
Okay, I take your point.
A comment?
No comment. We'll have a discussion with my attorneys around it.
Yeah. Dr. Mashazi, maybe on this particular discussion, I know it's ahead in your statement somewhere, but maybe when you want to reconsider and discuss with your attorneys, you may want to have a look at your paragraph 91 in the statement, because in that paragraph, paragraph 91 of your statement, in that paragraph, you tell us who you referred the IPID report to. And now you're saying something different. And maybe take that into account and see what you want to do with it. When you consult with your lawyers, you tell us that you referred it to Kemi Behari, and now you mention MAPA, and you haven't mentioned him in respect of this report.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Isaac Mapea, in terms of the IPID report and in terms of his responsibility, he was supposed to discipline Julius. He was supposed to discipline him. 2, I referred the item to the report to Kemi because he's a lawyer. And I think it is our processes that any legal document must be sent to the head of legal to actually peruse and give the accounting officer an opinion on how to move forward. But the responsibility still lies with the chief of police to discipline Julius.
Yes. So did I mishear you then? Because I thought you said you referred the report to MAPA and Behari. Did I mishear that?
You misunderstood. Thank you, sorry. Thank you so much. The report was directly sent to MAPA from the IPIT. They wrote to him as the chief of police to discipline Julius.
Yes.
And later the report was presented to me, and I found the report to be problematic in the sense that there were serious allegations. That's why I sent the report to Kemi, and for Kemi to actually advise me in terms of moving forward the report.
Okay. Like I said, it's a topic later on, so I would like to explore it further.
Okay,
so
sure.
I'll pause there for now. But maybe before you leave the topic you were discussing with Ms. Sillo, I just wanted to make a correction factually. At the bundle now, not the statement, the other bundle, at page 31, those emails, I think you and Ms. Sillo have said that the attachments to that email are the 2 memoranda. And maybe let's look at the memoranda and then I'll make the correction that I think needs to be made. And then you can say if I'm correct or not. So in that bundle, the 2 memoranda start at page 33. The first one is the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan and CAT VIP protection. That's at page 33. You see that. And then the next one is at page 30. If you just hold on for me. 37. The next one is at page 32, I think. 32, yes. And it's Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department and Medicare 24, Emergency Medical Services, / Anubi Protection Services. You see that? You see where-
Commissioner Baloyi, for the record, may I correct? The second one is at page 37, not
Oh,
page
I do
32.
apologize. Indeed,
Yes.
page 37. I'm sorry. So you can see the one at page 37. It's different parties except for the Metropolitan. The other party is different. At 37,
Yes.
it's Medicare and Anubis Protection Services. So it's a different protection services company. You see that? Okay. The correction I thought needs to be made is if you now go back to page 31, keeping in mind what I've pointed out now, if you go back to 31, that email there, the attachment is described as pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU. You see that?
Yes.
In fact, the subject ahead of that is pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU draft 1, and then the next one says EMS and EMPD MOU. None of these headings refer to CAT Protection Services or Anubis Protection Services. You see the point I'm making?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So it seems that we are talking about one memorandum that was attached and not two. And then the second point I just wanted to make sure we establish for the record is when you say the memoranda, you saw memoranda that were signed and you are referring to these two, the only signature that appears there is of Brigadier Mkwanazi and no one else.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner. Perhaps we take a slight step back, and I want us to address specifically the correction that Commissioner Baloyi suggests be effected. And for that purpose, I would like to refer you to Annexure IM 10. At your statement, paragraph 62, you state that these plural memoranda were sent to Office of Chief Mapie in October 2021, but were not brought to my attention. Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Then you say, I attach here to Annexure IM 9 and IM 10 an email and affidavit confirming that the memoranda, in the plural, were sent to the chief on or about October 21st. Now, if we turn our attention then to IM 10, IM 9 is the email, IM 10 is the affidavit that you reference. Correct?
Correct.
On my reading of IM 10, that is a statement on a City of Ekurhuleni letterhead written in the form of an affidavit and signed by, it states, Liesel Tyers, Personal Assistant, Office of the Chief of Police, Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department, City of Ekurhuleni, and it's dated the 17th of August 2023 at the bottom. You see where I'm reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I want us to go to paragraph 2 of that document, that affidavit. The first paragraph of that paragraph 2, there are 2 subparagraphs there. The first reads, I can confirm that I received the mentioned document via email from Superintendent Jermaine Fontaine, dated Sunday, 24th October 2021, and calls it a pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU draft 1. C, then it says C annex, attached annexure B. Then the second paragraph reads, I can confirm that I have received a second email with attachment MOU memorandum of understanding from Superintendent Jermaine Fontaine on the same date, about a few minutes later. The email is supposed to have gone through at 16:09. The second one at 16:13. And the subject, once again, is pre-final EMS and EMPD, and so it is annexure C. You are not the author of this affidavit. You are not the author of this affidavit. I'm going to give my interpretation of what is written here, and I'd like to invite yours. I understood the affidavit to speak to 2 distinct documents. Was that your impression as well on its reading?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, if you accept that these are two documents, both of which are memoranda of understanding, do you still intend to effect the correction that Commissioner Baloyi suggests? Because your statement speaks to two distinct memoranda, and you say, though the signed versions of those memoranda that are referenced in this document are what we now call IM 11 and 12, which you received from the Commission. So if I can take you back, are we talking about one memorandum here, insofar as both this email and that you have attached and the affidavit that you have attached, or are we speaking about two documents?
Yeah, the memoranda that we talking about, they are two.
Yes.
One is for the Medicare and one is for the CAT VIP security services.
And you maintain those are the two documents that you say are referred to in this affidavit. Can I inquire, even just on a reading of it, this affidavit was not communicated via the email that is attached as EM10 because EM9 because that communicates the memoranda. Where did you obtain this particular affidavit from?
Ma'am, I'm not sure.
No, you don't recall.
And I don't recall, and hence I said we were struggling to we got information from this one.
Okay.
So it is difficult for me to actually indicate the source of the document, but the document obviously is from the EMPD department.
Yes. No, I accept that response. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner.
Can I, Dr. Mashazi, I'm not suggesting that in the final analysis it's going to be of any big moment. I just wanted the factual correction. If you look at that same affidavit that Ms. Sillo is pointing you to, the first paragraph she read refers to an email at 1609, which contains one memorandum, and then another one at 1613. It contains a different MOU. Now, the email from Ms. Fontaine at page 31 is at 1609. So we know from the affidavit that it contained one memorandum. That's all I wanted to correct, because I had understood the exchange between you and Ms. Sillo to be that Ms. Fontaine had attached to this email at page 31 two memoranda. So I was just making that correction. You see the correction I was making?
Yes.
That what she has attached at 31 is in fact the one memorandum at 1609.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sillo.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I think the correction is correctly pointed out because in terms of the affidavit, there are two distinct emails. The Times reference there speaks to two different emails. Because you had already started this topic with Commissioner Kumalo, perhaps it's appropriate that we then jump ahead in your statement to close this IPID investigation issue regarding the use of the blue lights and the conclusion of these two memoranda. You understand? So I'm going to jump ahead rather than park it, drift into yonder somewhere only to come back to the same issue. May I suggest that we run ahead and look at page 21. At page 21, you answer question 10. And specifically, the failure to implement the directives by IPID to initiate disciplinary action against Brigadier Mkwanazi. You see where I'm reading?
Mm-hmm.
To help you or to help us all to understand exactly what we are talking about, please try and locate Chief Mapie's annexure bundle. And that's where we will locate the actual IPID report. Chief Mapie's bundle. And I would like to refer us to JM19, starting at page 101. Have you located it? When we keep saying the IPID report, that is the document we are talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you recall that Commissioner Kumalo said IPID specifically recommended that disciplinary steps be taken against Mr. Mkwanazi. And that recommendation appears at page 103 under the heading IPID recommendations.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is the report you received.
Mm-hmm.
And Commissioner Kumalo wanted to understand the failure to act on that recommendation. Correct? Your failure specifically as a city manager. That's the question that Commissioner Kumalo had posed to you.
I don't agree that I did not act. I indicated that receiving this document, I acted. And the person responsible to discipline Mkwanazi is the chief of police.
Okay.
I wish the commission could understand how council works and how the systems of delegations work. And in terms of the SEPS Act, the commission is aware that the discipline of members in the EMPD relies solely on the chief of police. And if the accounting officer had to actually sit in all the DCs of junior officials in this 26 department, how will the accounting officer discharge her duties, especially her strategic duties, governance, service delivery, and performance of the city in general?
Okay. Now, Commissioner Kumalo also referenced, I think, an interview you had where you spoke about this issue, specifically that there was an IPID report regarding these matters that was not acted upon. You recall that interview?
Yes, sir.
And I would like us to play that clip and then to appreciate the response you gave to the journalist at the time. It should come up shortly.
If there are, but we believe that there's more money that is still sitting within Sintel.
The iPad report for us was very vague, and I was unable to discipline anyone. We had to take that iPad report to our investigation. We appointed an independent investigator through the internal audit, and the report was out. We'll share the report with you so that we can start disciplining people. So from that report, the acting chief of police has done nothing wrong. He's cleared. So IPAD, they can go ahead if they want to arrest him, if they think he is wrong, because they are police officers. But from our side, in terms of the DC and investigation, there's nothing wrong that the acting chief of police has done. He's been cleared by our report, and for as long as there's nothing that they're doing from their side, if they believe that he is wrong, there's nothing I can do as an accounting officer. He reports to me. Even the chief of police, who is on suspension, he reports to me. If there's any wrongdoing from his side, I must do my own investigation, and I must also subject that person to a DC. I can't subject my officers to a DC based on a report that I myself do not understand, because I had to take it to legal, and legal analyze the report, and they refer the report to internal audit.
We're issuing fines.
Thank you. I won't even summarize my key takeouts, but I'll ask questions based on what I understood your responses to have been.
Mm-hmm.
My first is that you indicate in that interview that Brigadier Mkwanazi did nothing wrong. You say he was cleared by the report. and you reference an internal audit report that cleared him. Did I understand you correctly? Dr. Mashaz?
Exactly, I'm listening.
Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
What internal audit report is this?
The internal report, remember I said I referred the report to HOD Legal. And HOD Legal confirmed, I think there was some annexure from Mr. Ngiza's testimony.
Yes.
And I don't want to dwell into that because the HOD Legal will talk about that. About their response and about going through the report and about their own opinion advising the accounting officer. Remember, I'm not a lawyer. Any legal document that come to me, I must refer it to corporate and legal. Hence, we have that department. So whatever advice sitting here, I think the opinion, it was their opinion then at that point. But looking at the serious allegation now, I feel the HOD should come and talk to the opinion. If I was misled, I will accept.
Okay, we will take the offer and we will invite the head of legal accordingly. My particular interest is particularly as an accounting officer, you very specifically reference a document and you call it internal audit report. That's a very specific term. And I'm sure you understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that specific report cleared Mr. Mkwanazi. My question is, where and how, when did you see that report? Who did you receive it from? And how can the commission obtain a copy thereof?
It was from the chief audit executive.
Sorry, please say that again.
Chief audit executive.
And who was the chief audit executive?
It was Philip Rapal.
Philip Rapal.
Yeah.
And when was that, considering that the IPID report I referenced you at page 101 of Mapieye annexures is dated the 1st of September 2023. So I take it that the internal audit report would be dated after that date.
Exactly.
How would you recall how much later after that date to assist our search?
I wouldn't. I don't recall, ma'am.
You don't recall. Now, you said in no uncertain terms in that interview that it cleared Mr. Mkwanazi and that he did nothing wrong. What in the report, what wording appeared in the report that gave you such a definitive and conclusive understanding of the outcome of the internal audit exercise? Did it say this report clears Mr. Mkwanazi? Did it say following extensive investigations, no wrongdoing could be established on the part of Mr. Mkwanazi? I'm trying to understand what was the wording, as you recall, of the report that led you to conclude as you did, and you communicated to the journalist accordingly.
I can't recall. I will still have to go back and check.
Sorry, I missed that.
I will go back and check.
You'll go back and check. Now, getting back to the IPID report, in the interview with the journalist, you said the report was vague. That's the explanation you provided. And you said, and as a result, you were unable to discipline anyone. Do you recall that bit? Now, I want to invite you to Annexure JM19 of Mapiye's annexure bundle, which I said is the actual IPID report. And if you could just highlight what in particular about that report you considered vague, with reference to the report itself.
Can you repeat your question?
We are looking at the IPID report. Have you located it in Mapiye's bundle? It's
Yes,
marked
I did.
JM19. It starts at page 101. Now, you said to the journalist in that interview that no one was disciplined because the IPID report is vague, and therefore you were unable to discipline anyone, and you don't understand the content of the report. My question is, which part of this report do you consider vague? Just by flipping through now so we can understand your challenges at the time.
The report was fully analyzed by corporate and legal. Hence, I said, can we allow Advocate Kemi to come and talk to the report and also talk to his opinion about the report? And I indicated at the beginning of my response that if I was ill-advised or given an opinion that is not sustainable from the department, can we therefore allow Advocate Kemi to come and speak to the report? That's all I'm asking.
Okay, but as I indicated, we are happy to do so, except your own words seem to suggest that you consider the report vague. Are you saying that Advocate Bihari advised you that the report is vague? Or did you form the opinion that the report is vague, the IPID report?
That is my understanding from his opinion, from what he said. That is my understanding.
Oh.
Hence, I'm saying I do not want to waste Commissioner's time by saying stories I don't know, legal stories that I don't know and understand. I will ask the Commission. Advocate Kemi Bihari is coming on the 4th to pose this question to him about the opinion he rendered to the accounting officer. Remember, I'm not an expert in all the fields. We have engineering department, legal, HR, and so forth. I'm not an expert in those areas. I rely on HODs to advise me in terms of some of these reports or programs within the city.
My question was prompted by your choice of words in that interview. You said the report is vague, but based on what you've just said now, please correct me if I'm wrong, you were not suggesting that you reached the conclusion that the report is vague, but you are saying that Advocate Bihari advised you that the report is vague. Is that what you were trying to communicate?
Yes, ma'am.
So you are not in a position to look through the report now as we sit here to try and understand which aspects of the report are vague?
No.
And you operated purely on the basis of what Advocate Bihari informed you and advised you in his capacity as a lawyer?
Yes.
If we go back to your statement, then
Can I just
Commissioner?
Question. Dr. Mashazi, did you read this report from IPID at all?
Yes, I went through it, and because I must interpret it properly before I take any action. Remember, IPID, in as much as there's a memorandum of understanding between ourselves and IPID. When we discipline an official in terms of the labor relation and our processes, the collective bargaining, you need to be able to, in case you are taken on legally, when you go to the labor court, because I'll be the one who will be facing the labor court, I should be able to talk to the report. But if the report is not generated from my system, we had to subject it and confirm some of the things, because as you see the report, there were no annexures attached. Okay? So I know in terms of the report, there are gross allegations that needs to be attended to. Hence, I'm saying I do not want to waste your time, ma'am, the Commission's time, by saying yes, no, yes, no. I'm requesting that we park this. Advocate Kemi will talk to it, because I was solely relying on the opinion given to me at that time. But looking at the report, obviously, I would accept that the opinion is not assisting.
The reason I ask whether you read this report when it was given to you, it's because I'm worried if an impression is created or is drawn from how you're testifying that you received this report and simply passed it on. You didn't look at it. You didn't engage with its contents. You just passed it on to Advocate Bihari, and then he came back to you with his advice that ignore it, it's vague, and as city manager, you were content to deal with things at that superficial level. I'm concerned that your evidence may be misunderstood to convey that. Hence my question, did you read this report?
Yeah, I perused the report.
Yes, you did read it.
Yeah, I perused the report.
Now, having read it,
yeah,
and you've explained that you would have to defend your position about the position you take about it. Having read the report, and I'm going to assume that you reread it to come and testify here. What in the report in front of you did you consider to be vague, unsubstantiated conclusions about what Brigadier Mkhwanazi is being accused of?
Yeah, post the commission and the evidence that we received, the report is full of gross misconduct, and it needed an action from the city. But initially, because I just perused through the document and there was no attachment to it to confirm, that is the decision that I took after I was advised that the report is vague.
Okay. A different question still relating to this. In your evidence earlier, you say that Chief Mapia was responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi. And you don't get involved with that. And indeed, this report from IPID, you're correct, is addressed to Chief Mapia, but we know from your evidence that it does come to your attention. But in that interview, you speak about you being responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi. That's what you say in your words. And I'm really confused about what you're saying about your involvement with disciplinary action relating to Brigadier Mkhwanazi.
Thank you very much. If you listen to the interview, I said I have a right to discipline Mkhwanazi as an acting chief of police and including chief of police. That's my statement. Acting chief of police, you assume the responsibility of being the chief of police, and the responsibility of disciplining lies with the city manager.
So where criticism is that the city failed to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi arising from this report, according to this interview, that includes you. Because you say you relied on Advocate Behari's advice and he will come and speak for himself. But to the extent that you own up in the interview that you have the authority to discipline your acting police chief, and you have decided not to discipline him because the report is vague and you've conducted an investigation, that's on you. It's your decision at that point not to discipline him.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me give clarity to your question. At the point of the report and the memorandum, signing of the memorandum, Mkhwanazi was a director. That's why the responsibility of disciplining him was resting in the authority of the chief of police, not the authority of the accounting officer. Hence, in my interview, I said him as an acting chief of police then, and he acted just for a short period. And the chief of police himself, they report to me, acting in the capacity of chief of police. But at the time of this incident, he was a director. And the only person that could discipline him was the chief of police.
But from the interview, we know that you made the decision for reasons that you've given. You made the decision that there's nothing to discipline him for because an investigation has cleared him. So you made a decision when in that short time that he was acting, You made the decision arising from this IPID report. There's nothing to discipline him for because your investigation has cleared him.
I think I've answered there that I was advised at that point whether the advice is admissible or the advice is helping the process. The head of legal will explain.
Okay. And then can you just explain if the IPID report, as it is directed to the chief of police, and you say he had the authority to discipline. When you receive the same report, so we know where the authority to discipline lies, according to you. It lies with the chief. When you receive the report, why do you take it to Behari when the authority lies with the chief? Why do you say to Behari, look at this, and then you rely on him now saying to you, don't discipline? It sounds like you were doing something that on your evidence didn't belong in your remit because the authority lies with the chief according to your evidence.
Thank you, ma'am. Remember, the chief of police received this from IPID. I think, when was it? The day.
The report is dated September.
September. Yeah, he received this. And from his part, he did not want to act. I don't know why. Then he referred the IPID officials to my office. And they presented the report. There was Advocate Behari in the office. So as there were continuous inquiries about the report, Advocate Behari requested an official called Osborne Kanye from IPID to come and explain to us how do we move, because there were no attachment in terms of the report. That's why I wanted the advocate to come and talk to it. And Mr. Kanye said, because in the report they were suggesting that there were some corruption, fraud and corruption, and advocate wanted to understand that. I was part of that meeting, and Kanye in that meeting, he indicated that they're still busy with the investigation. That's what he said, and this will be confirmed by Advocate Behari. That Kanye was still trying to conclude the investigation and also create criminal charges against Mkhwanazi. And he will take those charges to DPP. And Advocate, I think he did a follow-up again when this thing was ongoing, when I asked him that, what's happening now? Because Mkhwanazi, as far as the report is concerned now, he is being accused of fraud and corruption, which must be dealt with. Then he wrote an email. He will present the email here to Kanye, Osborne Kanye in IPID, to check how far is he with DPP, so that Mkhwanazi can be arrested for doing this. That's why in the statement I said IPID should have concluded and they must arrest Mkhwanazi. Because they are police officers.
Yes. Did you never become aware that employee relations commenced a disciplinary process against Brigadier Mkhwanazi? Are you telling us you never became aware of that when you say Chief Mapie never acted on this?
DC, I don't know about the internal DC. I started knowing about this through the IPID report. Remember, in terms of the departmental functioning and the systems of delegation, Chief of Police would discipline any member, and I wouldn't be aware, junior officials, I wouldn't be aware of that.
And that was, of course, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, the former Ekurhuleni city manager. And she is before the Madlanga Commission today, led by Advocate Mahlape Silo SC and assisted by Advocate Ofense Mutlasedi. And that's where we're going to leave it for today. As far as we know, tomorrow we are expecting the Minister of Police, who is on leave, that is, of course, Senzo Mchunu, to appear before the Madlanga Madlanga Commission. But today, Imogen Mashazi, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, the former city manager, is appearing. Well, that's where we're going to leave it. Thank you so much for being with us here on SAFM and Update at Noon. And of course, we are going to play you out. And after the break, we will have Ondelambana with your latest news at 1.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
This week on BBC Primetime, watching TV could make you a winner. It's the BBC Primetime Watch and Win competition. Just tune into your BBC Primetime shows, answer a few simple questions on S3's TikTok account, and you could walk away with awesome prizes. From thrilling dramas to jaw-dropping reality shows, the more you watch, the more chances you have to win. Watch, answer, win. Only on BBC Primetime. Airs weeknights, 9 to 11 p.m. on S3. Your couch just became the best seat in the game.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a Clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations, and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Buccaneers believe they are unstoppable and will walk away as champions. However, Bahlabani Bantwa plan to reveal their secret game plan on match day. This is the Carling Knockout Final. Witness Orlando Pirates versus Marumo Gallants on Saturday, 6 December at 5 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 1. Then at 6 p.m. on SABC radio stations. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 107 FM in Kroonstad.
On the top stories, Dr. Mashazi continues with testimony at the Madlanga Commission, and a woman and her kids killed in a shake fire in Cape Town. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. Commissioner Sesi Baloyi has accused retired Ekurhuleni city manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi of doing nothing to protect women Metro Police officers who are allegedly being sexually harassed at the department. Mashazi served as the Ekurhuleni city manager since 2016 before retiring this year. She has also testified that complaints against Police Chief Jabulani Mapiyeye date back to 2012. Mashazi has told the Madlanga Commission about establishing a program at the city to empower women to ensure that they are less vulnerable from sexual harassment.
I think, Doctor, it's more than the program is not enough. I think it's specific as you receive word from women who speak to you. Because you raise it to a formal level, they tell you we have a problem, and it's not just the chief. According to your evidence, they say the men in EMPD. This is what they do. What in fact it is you did nothing about that. Your explanation for doing nothing about it is you say, well, I didn't have any formal written complaints or allegations.
A woman and her 3 young children have been killed in a shack fire in Langa on the Cape Flats. The children were aged between 3 and 6. Police spokesperson Wesley Twig says they are investigating the cause of the fire. Scores of people have gathered for the National World AIDS Day commemoration at Agamasamula in Limpopo. Deputy President Paul Mashatile will deliver the main address at the event. Over 300 suspects have been arrested in Northern Cape for various crimes, including rape, attempted murder, assault, drug-related offences, and burglary. The suspects were apprehended during the police's weekly Operation Chanela. Provincial Police spokesperson Cheryl Ehlers says compliance inspections were conducted at informal businesses and scrap yards, which led to the closing of 16 unlicensed liquor premises for non-compliance violations. Commissioner Sesi Baloyi, a BBC investigation has found that authorities in Georgia may have used a First World War era chemical weapon against anti-government protesters in November 2024. More than 100 protesters suffered long-term effects, including skin irritation. Recapping the top story, Commissioner Sesi Baloyi has accused retired Goruleni City manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi of doing nothing to protect women Metro police officers who are allegedly being sexually harassed at the department. I'm on the Lambada First FM News Headlines at 1:30.
I don't love going to school. I don't love sitting in a classroom with 50 other children. But I do love learning. Ndiyakuthanda ukufunda isiXhosa as a language. I do love getting good grades. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 19 December.
The Eastern Cape MEC for Finance, Mlungisi Mvogo, will on 4 December 2025 table the medium-term budget policy statement. He will outline adjustments to the 2025-2026 budget and highlight key policy priorities for the medium term. Follow MEC Mlungisi Mvogo and the Eastern Cape Provincial Treasury on Facebook for further details.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Oh, what an intense morning it has been at the Madlanga Commission. And I don't think if body language is anything to go by, from the commissioners, from the witness giving testimony this morning, from the advocates, I don't think it's gotten any better after the tea break. But hey, we are no body language experts. We are only just, guessing based on our own personal experiences. But this is also why we're going to have Usbahle Mota coming through in just a matter of moments, just to run us through what's transpired this morning thus far at the commission. How are you doing, by the way? I didn't even ask. How are you? How was your weekend? I hope you got some rest and relaxation. It's been a very rainy, wet weekend in Johannesburg. And I don't know about your side of town. How is it looking today after that insane thunderstorm that happened in the wee hours of the morning? Woken up at like 3 o'clock in the morning this morning by thunder and lightning like I have never heard and seen before. At one point, it was rippling through the skies as though it was some kind of sonic rhythm, just going in continuous vibration, going in continuous vibration. I literally thought I would wake up and a good number of the trees would be on the ground this morning. Thankfully, where I live, there was very little damage, but I know that, some of my friends in the Ekurhuleni side woke up with really cars that were parked outside, really damaged from the hail, and trees haven't fallen down and blocking roadways and all kinds of things. And they also didn't have electricity in some parts of Ekurhuleni. So I hope you're safe. I hope that you survive the storm yourself, your family, and your property, and there's not that much damage if you are listening to us today. It really, really, really was frightening yesterday. It really was frightening. The blessings of being a baby, because my daughter just slept through it all. Um, anyway, we've got a short but punchy show. We're going to catch up with Usbatle Mota. And then today is World AIDS Day. So we're going to be catching up with Utabo Johnson, Nkosi Johnson's brother. You recall, of course, the South African young AIDS advocate. So we're going to be catching up with his brother, who's a representative of Nkosi's Haven. And then we are going to dip over to the Eastern Cape Film Festival, and it's heading off to East London. So we'll find out more about that. And then we'll come back also and have another conversation around hashtag Voices of Her. This is a development program that's championing talented female vocalists from underserviced communities. So we'll find out more from the mentor who's part of the program around that. It's fast approaching 10 past 1 o'clock. Let's take a quick break and then we come back with Usbatle Mota.
SAFM commemorates Disability Rights Awareness Month under the theme Celebrating 30 Years of Democracy, Creating Strategic, Multi-Sectoral Partnerships for a Disability-Inclusive Society. SAFM supports and works tirelessly towards equity and equality for those with disabilities. Empowerment is key. Let us break the barriers and improve the quality of life for those with disabilities. Our efforts towards a better life for those with disabilities can only be impactful when we do so together. We do not tolerate any kind of discrimination. Disability Awareness Month 2025 on SAFM 104 to 107 FF nationwide, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, let us catch up with Usbatle Morton now and find out everything that's been going on this morning. Dr. Imogen Mashazi is testifying today at the Madlanga Commission, former Ekurhuleni city manager, and it's been tense and heated and filled with all kind of I don't even know, Sibale, at this point, because some of the responses almost seemed condescending. Sarcasm was in the mix there. There just seems to be there is a lot going on with this morning's witness.
Definitely. And to the listeners, I mean, even her body language is very,
Mm.
the way she I mean, he hit on her hand, and she's not trying to do the best that they can. I mean, since I've Russian question, I don't think I have ever seen a witness with such language. And, at times she uses her head on the question. And time and again, the evidence has asked her to the record. And I think it also speaks to her not forthcoming about the sort of things that she's but evidence leaders as well as commissioners are getting what from her.
I mean, are they really? I watched, about an hour and a half of their exchange at some point when the commissioners were really drilling into her about a particular section of her statement, where she brings up the allegations around infidelity, the group of women that are termed the angels. And that exchange seemed I think it was the first time I've seen all commissioners really have their patience stretched, and also really trying to help each other. When one failed, the other would jump in to see if maybe they can articulate the point of further inquiry. And it just seemed like the witness was just not giving.
No, definitely. But I was I think there's sexual harassment as well as rape and sexual assault, you know, are amongst, have such case regarding this. You mentioned like learning like his colleagues rather, who are women, got promotion as opposed to those who he did not allegedly start managing. He introduced a program at the Bolini Medical Department of our women regarding these harassment changes reports. But in the, I mean, who are testifying these other men, that's sort of voice of and
Mm.
she's sort of like so. I think what the commission are trying to drive across is that she should not use the sexual harassment case, you know,
Mm.
it is a way to as
And that was a very strong point because that moment lasted for like 30 minutes, that exchange between the commissioners, and it was mainly between herself. I always forget the lady commissioner.
yes, Advocate Baloyi, Betty
Yes.
Baloyi. Yes.
It was between herself and Advocate Baloyi and Commissioner Madlanga as well. And it really was a prolonged exchange because I think in part at some point the commissioners even had to say, don't misunderstand us in thinking that we're trying to defend. Is it Julius Mkwanazi? We're not trying to defend anybody here, but we're trying to get to the crux of why your statement has focused a great chunk on these allegations and why you focused on a singular person, because it sounded like she focused a lot also on Colonel Tipa. But
There,
you did not mention, you mentioned a collective of you women, but you hone in on one.
no, definitely, Bridget, and I mean that's at the crux of this, which of unjust response allegations against Colonel Tipa was one of Makeye's roles, you know. And I think what the commission did well sort of not asking for but don't use sexual harassment as a weapon. And I also think even her mentioning that even Sipa is one of his angels and she got a promotion. She was a short while and didn't have the necessary qualification. I think the fact that Colonel Sipa only got the promotion because she was probably in an intimate relationship with Kablani Madiye. So I think the framing of her evidence is quite problematic for the understand that what and how doesn't come across very well or you know, across South Africans as well as to the commissioners.
Absolutely. Speak about that body language and that head lean to the side, currently witnessing it once again. For anybody who did not, by the way, I know I jumped in at like the deep end in our conversations, Batle. But for anybody who's not watching this morning, just give us some context and background around who Dr. Imogen Mashazi is.
So Dr. Imogen Mashazi was a natural um, the- and basically she had Brigadier Anazi from any two processes were leveled at him. And remember, Julius Mkwanazi has been accused of blue lights in the vehicles of this wicked Madlanga. So what essentially defended herself and speak more about her relationship with Julius Mkwanazi. What we have heard, Brigadier Mkwanazi was in the accident. A lot of her evidence pointed to she may have shielded him from true accountability,
Mm.
even though there were recommendations, by the IPED say that he should face some sort of disciplinary hearing or there should be a price for what he has done. And the evidence strongly suggests that he killed, Brigadier Mkhwanazi against the IPED report, which made these.
Mm.
That's what the commission now on as to why she made that recommendation. I could report what happened to her was, and so thankfully she has admitted that she didn't follow what the IPID report had recommended.
Mm. It's also interesting that she continuously makes reference to the fact that it's Mkwanazi and the other. There's so many characters now. Mkwanazi's boss, I forget his name. She consistently says that they answer to her as the accounting officer. But then she then also passes the buck on when it comes to, well, was there room for you to act on the allegations that were brought to you about their conduct, their behavior, and everything else? And then she defers and she goes, no, no, you must understand city council and how city council processes work. It creates confusion for us laymen listening, because if essentially I am your accounting officer and you report directly to me, do I then not have the power and the authority to be able to action some kind of investigation, to implement some kind of recourse for allegations that were made to you? Because it seems like she throws the ball back to city council all the time.
No, definitely. And again, it comes back to what Jabulani Mati was bypassing to, do all these things that were illegal and unlawful. But yet, she wants Jabulani Mati evidence. They were allegedly sidelined, and so she had upset Jabulani Mati's power. So before the break, I put it that that is what the commissioners were trying to establish. Why do you say you don't have the authority, but in the other manner you think that you have the authority to discipline the police chief as well as the deputy? Because Mkhwanazi, who's the brigadier, is actually as the deputy, acting deputy police chief.
Mm.
These are all the questions that I'm looking she has answered over to answer even.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, I think we could go on and on about this witness. There's so much about her character, her demeanor, just her articulation of her story that really leaves more questions than answers for so many people that are watching. But I guess this is why we have the commission. Thank you so much for your time. That was Usbahle Mota, SABC News reporter. It's just gone 20 past 1 o'clock. We're going to take a quick pause. We come back, we shift focus a little bit because today is World AIDS Day, a very important day in the calendar, of course, and we want to have this conversation as South Africans. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
I'm Michelle Constant. Join the JSB crew and I every Saturday and Sunday morning between 7 and 10 a.m. We promise to keep you informed and entertained with innovation, culture, cars, travel, life learnings, environment, and of course, your big fat juicy. Small stories, big ideas, massive inspiration. The Jet Set Breakfast on SA.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, today is World AIDS Day, 1st of December, and South Africa has joined the global community in commemorating the day. It's a reminder that the HIV pandemic is far from over. Nearly 8 million South Africans living with HIV. And Nkosi's Haven, which was founded by Gail Johnson in memory of her son and young AIDS activist Nkosi Johnson, is an NGO that provides holistic long term care to mothers living with HIV and AIDS, their children as well, and of course, AIDS orphans. We're joined now by Utabo Johnson, Nkosi's brother and representative of Nkosi's Haven. How are you doing this afternoon, Tabo?
Hi, Bridget. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for the time. I mean, you'd be hard pressed not to find a South African who is all too familiar with your brother Nkosi Johnson and his story, his image, his bravery. A young activist who very, very courageously spoke openly about his own journey before passing away at the age of 12. Just recap for us as well, because weirdly enough, we also live knowing by social media and the conversations that happen there that there is a whole generation that would have missed a time lived during Gosi's journey. Recap for us around your brother, you know, his heart, who was he, his ambition, his love, his story.
No, of course. I definitely think that my brother got a lot of his strength from our mother, who is still fighting and cares so much about the sport. But just to recap, right? Inclusive Haven was founded by my mom, Dale, in 1999. And at the time in South Africa, where many babies were being born HIV positive with no real children were literally being forced to die.
Mm,
My brother in Kofi was one of them and had contracted HIV at birth from his biological mother, Daphne, who passed away when he was about 2 years old.
mm,
One of the moments changed my mother's life was when in Kofi to her, mommy never got to say,
mm,
and that sentence, and it made her realize that no child should carry that kind of pain. No mother should die of the dignity of saying that her child was safe and loved.
mm,
And that was the turning point that drove her to treat place the mothers and by like together, heal together. What started out as one small home in Berea
mm,
um, turned into a full community in Ellen today. So today, Inclusive Haven supports over 100 residents.
mm,
We provide safe housing, healthcare access, food and nutrition support, education, psychosocial services, and just long-term home for families who need stability. And in 2020, recognized overlap in HIV vulnerability and gender-based violence.
mm,
We opened our doors even further to children escaping abuse. And
mm.
many of their experiences mirror the same trauma and the Haven has always with them. So yes, we're not just a shelter, we're a very big community and
Mm.
definitely our residents.
Yeah, and speaking around just that, that overlap of shame and trauma and stigma that women and children face, particularly those who are living with HIV and AIDS. In 2025, has that narrative shown any signs of improvement? You do the work on the ground, you have the conversations. Has it shown any sense of improvement at all, or do we still have a long way to go? If your brother was around today, would he still be saying that South Africa, look at yourself in the mirror, because compassion lacks in your heart?
Oh, I think we still have a long way to go for the remainder of 2025 on HIV. And I think, yeah, there's so many different talking points to that. And stigma is definitely, I can think for other things other than this. And
Mm,
like you said, stigma prevents testing, selecting medication, or even, and then another point, you know, uh, that people need to remember that treatment works
mm,
and that ARVs save lives. And just for your regular checkup, literature about how to take your medicine, I believe, can eventually um, end a generation that we're in right now.
mm,
Another point that to remember is that how would my mother say it? HIV is a health condition, not a moral judgment.
Mm.
So, um, we must continue separating HIV from the shame and the blame, which is morality, because no one deserves that stigma.
Mm.
And compassion life, which is something that my brother. And the last one, which is just more what we believe in as the haven, is just that family, especially mothers and children, need long-term support.
Mm.
And this is housing, nutrition, counseling, education, just overall healthcare access.
Mm. I mean, given the extensiveness of the work of the Haven, 130 residences, and you guys are obviously now extending yourselves as well to be a safe haven to women and children running away from brutal situations. It speaks to a machinery that continues to really grow in substantial ways. And I wonder um how are you able with your mom and your team still able to sustain and keep the fires burning because it is a huge responsibility that you've placed on your shoulders.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it is a huge responsibility, and we get support. We could always do with more support. And there's so many ways to support us. And I think our main big need, I would say, is just financial donation.
Mm.
And just to elaborate further on that, we have our daily living essentials, food, electricity, school fees, and just general operations costs. We also love it when businesses can partner with us long term with sponsoring programs like food security and just educational initiatives.
Mm.
And we also open our doors to individuals to sponsor a child or even donate them to be.
Mm.
Because here as a community, we're grateful, big or small. But right now, I'm not going to lie, we really do need extra help. We really do need financial running and to keep our family alive. You
Mm.
know, um,
Absolutely.
but unfortunately, if things continue in terms of us not getting enough financial assistance. We would have known the Haven their whole lives. People who have lived there and that has become their home will essentially be forced to somewhere else. Which is
Mm.
a very sad reality.
And might be forced to fend for themselves in the cold streets of Johannesburg.
Yes.
Tabo Johnson, thank you so much for the time. Just quickly, we fast run out of it. I have to get into headline news. For anybody that wants to contact Nkosi's Haven, for the purposes of assistance, what would be the easiest way?
The easiest, most effective way is to just email me directly. I am always, always on my emails.
Mm-hmm.
And my email will up at KOSISHAN dot org. That is the
Fabulous.
quickest way anyone can reach me.
Fabulous stuff. That was Tabo Johnson, brother to the late HIV/AIDS activist, 12-year-old Nkosi Johnson. Feel free to give them a shout on his email ops@nkosishaven.co.za. It's just gone 1:30. It's time for Ondela Mbana in the news.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the Gauteng High Court has reserved judgment on former President Jacob Zuma's application to appeal a ruling that ordered him to repay 28.9 million rand in state-funded legal fees. Commissioner Sasi Baloyi has accused retired Goruleni City Manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi of doing